Welcome to the Pub Sports Radio Saturday college football kickoff show. It's our final show. It's the season finale. Don't get the Kleenex out. Don't get emotional on us now. We're going to miss this show. We're going to miss being around each other doing it. But life goes on, unfortunately. And that's the end of the college football season. That's where we're at. It flew by. But we're going to go out with a bang because on this show today, our season finale, it's Ian Cameron, Big Ragoo, DJ Big Boss, the cast of characters. Conor Mac will be with us shortly. We're going to go through every bowl game, every single one, including the two playoff games, the two semifinal matchups, every bowl game right through to January 4th when that final bowl game before the title game happens, which is LSU Kansas State. So we will cover every bowl game right here on this show today and see if we can point you in the winning direction with each of them. Let's start it off with a bowl game that is getting underway. It's the first game today, and it starts in an hour, 11 a.m. Eastern time, the Boca Raton Bowl in Florida, down in Big Ragoo country, I guess you could say here, a little bit close to it anyway. We've got Appalachian State and Western Kentucky. This is, of course, in FAU Stadium, home of the Florida Atlantic. Woo, 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 woo. Home of the Owls. We've got Appalachian State 2.5-point favorites, 66.5 the total in this game. Of course, Connor and I talked a lot about the bowl games on the two Monday shows we did hitting the books. So I'll try to be a little shorter with my own analysis and just say that, the over is the only way I would go in this game from a totals perspective. It's the only way I would bet any game with Western Kentucky. It's the only way I've bet any game with Western Kentucky this year. It's a team that obviously has got a high-flying passing game led by Bailey Zappi. Now, the OC took a job elsewhere, but apparently he'll be the play caller here for this bowl game still against App State. And it's still, I expect that offense to move, but I think App State can return fire with that balanced attack. Cameron Peoples running the ball. Will you get Chase Bryce, good Chase Bryce or bad Chase Bryce? Always a question mark. App State probably does have the better defense. And, certainly I favor the Sun Belt a little bit top to bottom over Conference USA, which has been down for the last few years. And so for that reason, I leaned App State -2.5. But, I like this Western Kentucky team. And guys, I'm reading stuff that they've got a bad taste in their mouth with the way that season ended for them in the Conference USA title game against UTSA. They weren't happy with the way they played in that game. And they want to, and from everything I'm reading, from the quarterback, from the head coach, they kind of want to make amends for that performance here with a bowl victory. So I think motivation will be there for Western Kentucky, but I do think it's a short number for a team that's got the better defense, and that's App State. So I'm kind of going back and forth on the side, but I do think we'll see points in this game. Big Ragoo, what do you think here? Boca Raton Bowl.
Yeah, down in Boca Raton, self-named bowl for sure. Listen, what we have here is basically you're going to have the classic, top offense in the country versus one of the better defenses overall, at getting in the backfield and disrupting plays that App State does. We've come to accustom to the style that App State puts on the field year in, year out, and they're perfect 6-0 in the bowl season. So this is the only team left in the country that hasn't lost a bowl game. That's played more than 2 bowl games anyways. But for the most part, the look I think we have here, I think we have motivation on both sides of the ball without question. This is probably going to be one of your cleaner games as far as, opt-outs and, any kind of drama that's going to go into the game. So it's basically you're going to have a classic defensive team that's, very able on the offensive side of the ball to make stuff happen. And you have a fire away type of, high octane offense that's, it's been pretty successful all year. And I think if you're an App State fan, you're going to have to really figure out a way to kind of ground and pound the ball to keep that offense off the field on the other side. And I think we'll see that from App State. I think App State has a better defense. I think they'll maybe not totally slow them down, but maybe chew some clock, and maybe I would like to lean towards the over in this spot. I know probably contrarian, but I think App State's defense will kind of not slow them down completely, but their offense will be able to move the ball up and down the field. And I look for a lot of running opportunities to ground and pound the ball against Western Kentucky's defense. So I lean towards the under here in this spot.
All right, lean towards the under. And you're right, App State definitely will want to slow the pace down a little bit. Western Kentucky, I think 2 in the country or 3 in the country in terms of pace and plays per game. So a little contrast to styles. Very fascinating matchup. Pretty good game, actually, for a very early in the bowl season matchup. So looking forward to seeing it here. DJ Big Boss, what do you like in this bowl game?
Let me get myself off mute, man. And this one right here, App State, they impressed me. They're one of those teams that got a little better as they went along in the season. So I respect them 100% for that. But the Chase Bryce quarterback, I really don't, I really can't put my faith in that guy. Like he showed in the big games that he's underperformed. So yeah, App State will be relying on getting the run going to get the score going. But the freaky thing about App State is they had some high lines, minus 22, minus 19 during the season, and they were able to climb above those lines. So I guess when the opportunity is presented itself, they can score. And then when you look at Western Kentucky, NFL scout type quarterback, high octane offense and very little defense. And they showed that in the UTS game. I felt they were the better team, but at the same time, if you don't play defense in big games, you lost right there. So I don't think they're gonna pack defense today. I'm leaning on the over right there, but the number is up there. Like, I'm not trying to really wait around for 67, but if that's the only way to take it today, and then on the side, I'm gonna take the points and lean with Western Kentucky, just kind of contrarian. Even though a lot of people are on Western Kentucky, but I'm looking at the NFL scout type thing. Everybody's watching. It's gonna be on a big screen and all that. So I hope it climbs over. Give me the points with Western Kentucky with the better quarterback.
All right, Conor Mac, App State, Western Kentucky.
Yeah, I'm with you, DJ Big Boss. I think there's points. I don't think there's any way, Western Kentucky's going to stop App State. App State will run it right down on them. And I think Western Kentucky can throw it around. Zappy, I think he'll do what they do. I mean, not one Western Kentucky game, was like played in the 20s this year. So I think they both get in the 30s. So, yeah, I'd only be on the over. On the side, I like the 3 with Western Kentucky. It was my favorite look. I'm just not big with App State laying these points. I think they were a good football team, but I think this one could be a close one. So nothing on the side, but give me the over here. Lean the points, though. I'd lean the points with Western Kentucky if I had to take a side.
And Jake Kaiser, this guy is just an incredibly loyal and supportive of everything.
Shout out to Jake. Yeah, I got to message him too.
Stay farm, Jake.
We're running busy today, Jake. I'll shoot you a message soon, my guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Great stuff, Jake. We appreciate you tuning in, and thanks for the dono to get the show and party started. It's a party today. It's, you don't be sad that it's over. You smile because it happened. That's that old saying. That's what today's show is. We're not sad that it's over. This is the final show. We're happy that it happened, that we had this show all season long. That's the way you look at it. All right. Next up, we've got the New Mexico Bowl. UTEP, Fresno State. We've got Fresno State 11.5 point favorites here, 51.5 the total in this game. The big mystery to solve before this game is Jake Hayner's status. We're obviously unsure of whether he's going to play. Now, he went in the transfer portal initially, looking like he was going to leave the program, looking like he was going to follow Kalen DeBoer to Washington, which is what it sounded like. Then all of a sudden, he pulls out of the transfer portal and decides to return to the program here. Fresno State issues that apology cam video. Oh, I'm sorry I did that. And he's now back here in Fresno. And he kind of did that after they announced Tedford. So maybe there's something about Jeff Tedford coming back to coach Fresno State that has him excited and renewed energy to return here to Fresno. So all of a sudden, that has put everything up in the air. Initially, it looked like there was no way Haener was going to be in this bowl game. Now there's a chance he might play. But it's been announced by the interim coach here for Fresno that they're not going to make a decision or announce it before the game. So we're going to be left in limbo here till opening kickoff, whether it's going to be Haener or whether it's going to be one of the two freshmen, Jalen Henderson or Logan Fife, at quarterback here for Fresno State in this game. What I do know, though, is, and I said this with Connor on the Monday show, Fresno's in that situation where I don't want to lay double digits with a team in their situation where the head coach has departed. He's taken his offensive coordinator with him. It's going to be a shake up in the coaching staff. I don't like that type of a situation from a bet on perspective in the bowl season. I don't like it when there's those coaching changes. I think it throws everything off. A lot of the times the coaches that are there, in this case, I think it's the running back coach that's now the interim coach for Fresno, or the bull coach, I should say. He's not looking at, wow, we got to get ready for UTEP. He's sending his resume out for the next job. That's what his focus is. He's looking for his own future. So that's why I don't like these situations involving these teams. I'm trying to make a case for UTEP. The problem is, if we find out, guys, that Hainer plays, I'm not convinced UTEP's stopping Fresno very much, because their defense is still a little bit shaky. So the way I'm kind of going about it, I like UTEP's offense. I think their offense improved a lot this year. They do have a solid receiving core. Hardison at quarterback had a nice year. Credit to Dana Dimmel. Now, they took advantage of a lighter schedule, but UTEP's been a disaster for years. You've got to give them some credit for getting to a bowl game and having the record they had this year. If Hainer's in, I probably will bet UTEP and the over here. But if Hainer's in, I'll probably put more on the over. If Hainer's out, I'll probably put more on UTEP in this game. That's how I'm pretty much going to go about it. What do you think, Big Ragoo, New Mexico Bowl?
Yeah, we always were mining for profits with this team, especially when they were in the dog role. Not a good favorite team, obviously, but they're not nowhere near going to be a favorite in this game, regardless. But the question marks with Fresno, if all the pieces were intact and everything, with the coaching scenario. But like you said, Tedder, I would definitely have to lean UTEP in this particular spot here. But it's a kickoff decision for me. But all things being equal, and which are not going to be possibly in this game. But if everything was equal and we had all the players intact, then I would probably, depending on the quarterback, also I would definitely lean towards UTEP in this spot, getting doubles here. But if it was a full strength, 100% on board Fresno team that's been like a freight train all season long, then this game could be over in the first half. But if all things come aside and all the starters are intact for New Mexico, for UTEP, I'm rolling with them plus the points.
Yeah, and you got to think too. Fresno plays, New Mexico Lobos, of course, in the Mountain West. Fresno plays them. It's not like this is a special trip for the Fresno kids going to Albuquerque, New Mexico. For UTEP, this is good for their fan base. It's a short trip from El Paso, Texas to Albuquerque, New Mexico. And everything I read is that UTEP is fired up and excited to be in this bowl game, to be in any bowl game. And there is an onus, from what I've read. They know that there's a drought here, that they haven't, I think, won a bowl game since the 70s, this UTEP football program. So I think that's in the minds of these players, that we want to go out there and try to get a win here. So there could be a difference in motivation levels here for these two teams as well going into this game. That could also only be heightened if we find out Hainer doesn't play for Fresno. Yeah. So, there's no way I'm laying double digits. And I don't want to say, okay, look at what happened yesterday. You got to blindly bet every early bowl game that same way. But underdogs 2-0 ATS yesterday, overs 2-0 yesterday. Yeah. And that's usually the trend, guys, in early bowl games, the dogs and the overs. Not to say they always cash, but I find the dogs and the higher scoring football games in the early bowls happen quite a bit. What do you think here, DJ Big Boss?
Man, I definitely want to take those double digits in the bowl games. I learned my lesson. I backed Coastal a little bit yesterday, and I don't know, it just wasn't there. But in this one right here, like you said, short travel for sure, but they're going to New Mexico. There's nothing to do there. They're going to be focused on football, not too many distractions over there. So I expect them both to come out and play a fair game. But I lean more to the over, because even though the numbers for Fresno State has put them kind of as an unders team, I think they win 7 games under. So I don't know. That could be a misconception in a bowl game like this, where they got a little drama going on, interim coach, all those different factors. Any small detail taken away from that defense leads to points. And me, I'm backing all the 4th-year coaches. Dana Diamond over there at UTEP. He kind of probably brought all his guys together, and they buying into the system because they had a good beginning of the season. They did fall off towards the end of the season, but now he's pumping up the next guys coming in. So bowl victory helps on recruiting, helps on the players that's there buying into the system. You know, he may get a couple players to stay and play an extra COVID year or something like that. So I think it's definitely optimistic on the UTEP side. So I like taking the points, and if it's going to be some points, then it's going to go over for sure.
Yeah, and Fresno's had a tough time with their pass defense at times in terms of explosive plays allowed. That could be trouble because UTEP does have Jacob Cowling's a terrific receiver for them. He's had a monster year for the Miners, and it'll be interesting to see if Fresno State's able to contain him today. Conor Mac, what do you think here, UTEP and Fresno?
Yeah, this isn't one that I love to bet today, but I got to think. I mean, I know Hainer was a little bit banged up, but yeah, the apology, and now he's back, that he plays today.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know any reason why he wouldn't.
If I had to guess, I'd agree.
Yeah. Maybe he's rusty early. Fresno's the better team, but are they motivated? That's always the point in these bowl games. We talk about it. You know, is this really where Fresno wanted to be? New Mexico Bowl? I don't think so. You talked about UTEP being hyped up. I like him a little bit. This game, like, it's not my favorite on the board. If I had to take it, I pull the trigger on the dog here with UTEP. I take the points. Maybe get backdoor cover, just be hyped for it to be in this game. But it just depends what Fresno wants to do. So one I'm probably not going to bet, but lean the points.
All right, we have UAB and BYU Independence Bowl. We've got BYU 6.5, 7-point favorites, 55 the total. This is one of the two games on ABC today. There's two bowl games on ABC. This is the first one. So big national TV spot, especially for UAB. They don't get many of those. This is another one where I lean the dog. Here's the problem, though. You know, first of all, let's talk BYU. BYU's had some big wins this year, and they've got a pretty good record. And doesn't it feel like this isn't much of a reward for the season they've had? I mean, Independence Bowl, Shreveport, Louisiana, first weekend of the college football bowl season. I mean, it feels like for a team with the record of BYU, they should have probably been in a little bigger bowl game than this. So I worry about that a little bit for BYU. Is this an exciting, prize for them? Getting this kind of bowl game. Well, we'll see. The one concern, though, with backing UAB is, guess what? We know in the trenches, it's a huge advantage for BYU. There's no denying that whatsoever. Now, is the lack of enthusiasm potentially for this game going to be something that hurts BYU? I don't know. But what I also will say, guys, is UAB suddenly has found an offense here this year. You look at some of the points they put up, 31, 34, 52, 31 against UTSA. In that game that decided who would go to the CUSA title game. They put 42 on the board against UTEP in their finale. This team's got a little bit of explosiveness offensively. And Dylan Hopkins has been not just solid, is replacing the guy that got hurt early in the year. He's been very good, in fact, at the quarterback spot for UAB. They've got a good run game. They've shown that they can have the ability to throw the ball a little bit. And I think it's a situation where UAB, they've got a great tight end as well. And BYU's got issues defending the middle of the field at times. BYU's got issues defending, period. I see some of BYU's stats defensively this year. Not the greatest defense I've seen under Kalani Sitake, that's for sure. He's given up 26 to Boise, which had a pedestrian offense, 38 to Baylor, 49 to Virginia, 31 in the game against USC to end the season. So, believe it or not, you wouldn't think UAB, let's bet the over. I'm kind of thinking that here in this game because I think Jaron Hall and BYU's offense could just the advantage they have with their O-line against an undersized UAB defensive front. I think you could see them move the ball, and I think you could see UAB move the ball against one of the worst defenses that BYU's had in a few years. So I think we'll see points in this game. I like the over and a smaller bet for me on the dog as well. What do you think, Big Ragoo? This one, Independence Bowl.
Man, all on the Brigham Young guys, man, because these are men amongst boys. Even not taking nothing away from the Birmingham Dragons here, guys, but the thing that gave me just a little bit of pause. I usually love to get me some action down on UAB, especially in an underdog role. But I mean, you with Tyler McBride checking out and the defensive Alex Wright, who's a major miss for them on the defensive end.
Mm-hmm.
I just think they might have some issues on the defensive side matching up with BYU here. And don't forget, they were pretty successful BYU took down the Pac-12 champions and had some really good wins in the Pac-12. So I think, like you said, they might be slighted here a little bit for the lower tier bowl game, but they still have an opportunity to crack the top 10, even early bowl game. And like my buddy DJ always says, they're interviewing they're getting ready to ship out and get them make the big statement to move on. So I think this is going to be a statement game for these guys moving forward, springboard into next year. So I like BYU here. Less than a touchdown. I know there's more action coming in on the other side, but I just think this is one of them plays here that they can win going away.
Yeah, and you're right. There's definitely the defensive ends may not play. McBride, you may not see him due to injury, the running back. So could be a little bit trickier for UAB without those two guys. And there's no sugarcoating it. There's a huge advantage in the line of scrimmage for BYU.
Right.
Maybe that does show up here. But 10-2 team, I think they thought, boy, maybe we'd have a bigger ticket for our bowl game than the Shreveport, Louisiana, the Shreveport Independence Bowl. So we'll see how excited they are. It's a fascinating game. Looking forward to it. What do you think, DJ?
I think the trouble of capping games with great cappers like y'all, man, by the time it get to me, y'all done said everything I can say. There's nothing left to say. But I still stand by BYU. The whole season I've been saying they're trying to get into a conference. This is basically an interview. And I also agree with Ian, like this, out of all the teams, this is one of the teams that probably should be playing on New Year's Day. I mean, they only lost 2 games, one to a great Baylor team and one to a really feisty Boise State team. So, 10-2 team right here. And we love UAB. I'm sure everybody on the show's cash made money with UAB all year, but not this one right here. It's kind of a class difference right here. And, BYU is one of those teams that can get up and play anywhere. So the travel, none of that bothers them. They get up and play Baylor and then turn around and play Boise State. That's just, how they get down. So I respect them for that. Only thing that saddens me about BYU, and it kind of makes it a little shaky with the number, is that it was a point in the season where the coach was more enthusiastic about winning than the players, I felt. So if he can get them all riled up today in the bowl game, which I'm sure they've been treating them like kings, feeding them like kings, the least they could do is come play like kings. So I like BYU minus the points.
All right. DJ Big Boss liking BYU as well. And 4-1 to the over for UAB down the stretch. Rice, 54 points. The Louisiana Tech game, 90 points. UTSA game, 65 points. The UTEP game, 67 points. That's my lean was BYU. I like this total even more. I think BYU will score a bunch. UAB against a weaker BYU defense than we've seen in years past will contribute as well. So points, I think, in this game are in the making. Connor, what do you think?
You just said what I was going to say. This UAB team is not the same defensively as it is in years past and early on in the year. They gave up a shit ton of points. And BYU's defense all year I didn't think was very good. But they did enough, in games to win. So I think BYU almost gets to 40 here. But I think UAB will be able to score as well. I lean BYU under the touchdown a tad bit, but I'll just give me the over here. I think we can get over 54.5.
Yeah, I mean, again, yesterday, 2-0 for overs, 2-0 for underdogs. So, again, it's just fascinating to see if that carries over to today. It won't. There'll be some favorites covering. There'll be some unders. But I do find in general there's a few more overs and dogs in the early parts. We'll see if that's a theme once again on Saturday. All right, Lending Tree Bowl, Mobile, Alabama here. Eastern Michigan and Liberty. Liberty, 9.5, 10-point favorites, 57.5 the total in this game. As far as Liberty goes, you could be looking at Joshua Mack, the running back for them. He didn't travel with the team after declaring for the NFL draft, so he's out for Liberty. But Malik Willis, the quarterback, is expected to be there and play and start at quarterback for the Flames in this game. I realize the track record of Hugh Freeze in bowl games is very good. He's one of the coaches that actually is very good in bowl games. But I'm going to counter that with Liberty's, I don't know. They didn't play great I didn't love the way Liberty played down the stretch. Really, in the second half of the year, they were up and down. They're laying big points. Eastern Michigan, under Chris Creighton, they haven't won a bowl game, but they're 3-0 against the spread in those games. They're actually 0-3 straight up, 3-0, though, against the spread in bowl games under Chris Creighton. All of the losses have been by 7 points or less. They've been in every game. They've had a chance to win every game. They are on an incredible 30-9 against the spread run, guys, as an underdog. Eastern Michigan, 30-9 against the spread the last 39 tries. I'm taking the points here. I think EMU can hang in this game. I don't mind their quarterback, Ben Bryant, who transferred from Wisconsin, has been the quarterback here at EMU this year. I think he's capable. I think they can move the ball. I did not like what I saw from Liberty at times down the stretch. I'm not sure that the Lending Tree Bowl in Mobile, Alabama, this is a team that thought grandiose things coming into the year. New Year's Six bowl game, run the table, one-loss team, or something along those lines. That's what the expectations were for Liberty with the team they brought back this year. They underachieved those expectations. They struggled down the stretch a little bit, and now you're going to ask them to lay double digits here in a venue that may not excite them. The Lending Tree Bowl here in Mobile, Alabama. No, I think we got a live dog here with Eastern Michigan. I'm looking at them with the points. Big Ragoo, what do you think here?
I totally agree. The stretch run that Liberty put together, I mean, this is going to be a showcase game for Malik Willis, for a scout game, basically, if you will, for his spot here. But I think they're going to have to try to run the ball, because if there's any weakness on Eastern Michigan, they will give up some yardage on the ground. But I think you're right. I think they are alive in this spot. And even though we got to give credit to Liberty, even though they took on Ole Miss, Louisiana, and Army down the stretch on those losses, where's the motivation? I think this is a motivation game. I think we'll see a little bit better effort. Not better, but a tighter effort on the Eastern Michigan side of the ball. So, and a little bit of an overlay probably with the to get to 2 scores to get to the cover. So definitely, I would have to lean real hard with Eastern Michigan in this spot, just because of what's happening going down the stretch in the early bowl game.
By the way, Eastern Michigan, in terms of explosive plays allowed defensively, their defense has been hit or miss, Eastern Michigan, don't get me wrong, but explosive plays, they haven't been bad. And Liberty really feasts offensively all year on the big play. So maybe Eastern Michigan can limit those a little bit. DJ Big Boss, what do you think here? Lending Tree Bowl.
Man, I think this game got trap written all over it. I mean, I don't even like the Linden Tree. That's a trap in itself. It's all trappy. Even the number right here spells trap. I mean, both teams trend towards the under. Eastern Michigan is 5-7 to the under. Liberty is 4-7-1 to the under, and yet and still we get a 57.5. I don't even see the separation of the 9 points between two teams with the same record. They're both 7-5. So I don't know. Maybe they know something that we don't know. Probably would, if I had to play it, I go contrarian to whatever anyone's trending. I'm gonna go the opposite on that one, because we don't know. That game's trappy, man. It's sort of a pass for me.
All right, Conor Mac.
Yeah, I want the points with Eastern Michigan, but I talked about this on Monday, Ian. I want more than, just this 9.5. I see a 10 out there at DraftKings. I wanted 2 touchdowns with Eastern Michigan, but how can you go wrong with that bowl record like you talked about? The big key with me is that defense. What are they going to do? I know they showed up, played well in certain games, Northern Illinois, Miami, Ohio. They won, 13-12. Then they gave up, a ton of points to Toledo, 49, 31, 34 to Ohio, the last few games of the year. So I take the points. That'd be it in this game. And I don't know about the total. That's a toss-up. This one could stay under or it could go over. So nothing on the total. Give me lean the points here with Eastern Michigan.
Yeah, I didn't mean to ignore the Celebration Bowl, but like I said, I don't follow the FCS football or the historically black colleges and universities as much. What I will say, I didn't bet it, but I will say about that game, since someone asked, Jackson State has clearly been a powerhouse with the HBCU schools this year in football, thanks to Deion Sanders. You see how they're recruiting there now, and the talent he's bringing in. I just wouldn't want to try to go against that. They've clearly been, I think they're probably going to win this game. That they're favored by 10. It's a question of whether they cover that game against South Carolina State. But I don't know if I'd be in a rush to bet against Deion's boys from Jackson State. And they've got a pretty damn good defense from everything I read and see as well, based on the numbers. So, yeah, it would be Jackson State or nothing for me in that game. Did any of you guys have anything on that game, the Celebration Bowl, which is basically the HBCU championship game? That's what it is every year. SWAC champion versus the MEAC champion.
Oh, I absolutely got a little bit on that one for you, Ian. Take the under. A lot of people haven't
There you
been
go.
paying
Yeah.
attention to
Take the under.
Jackson State this whole year, but they play really good defense. It was more trappy giving up those points because they don't score a lot of points like that. Dion's over there eating in that league, playing immaculate defense. Games are in the low 40s, and so I would take the under, continue that trend. Definitely, that team is based off of defense, which is one of the first places that you work on when you acquire a team. So he's got everything going in that side. And in a big game like this, you got to rely on his bread and butter, which has been his defense.
There you go. So an
I'll
underlook.
give you a little tidbit on the game too. So, like DJ says, definitely defensive mind. Like he decided to start that whole program out on his end with the defense, and he just stole. That's right, he just stole the #1 recruit in the land from Florida State. So, shame on you, Mike Norvell, for letting him get away. But
You're a
Dion
little
is building.
salty about that.
Yeah, I'm salty about it. But anyways, I'm totally with DJ on that side. Definitely on the under, and maybe look for a team total under for South Carolina State.
All right, good stuff there. All right, let's go to the Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl. I never thought I'd see a bowl game sponsored and named after Jimmy Kimmel in my lifetime, but here we are. The Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl in SoFi Stadium, Oregon State, Utah State. It's a good matchup. I love both of these teams. I've backed both of these teams a lot this year. Don't make me choose. Well, they're going to have to make me choose here. Oregon State, 7-point favorites, 68 the total. This is another one where I could see a lot of points. I mean, these are two very good offenses, and I'm not sure, guys, that either team is going to stop what the other team wants to do. Utah State wants to throw the football a lot with Logan Bonner, that great passing offense. Blake Anderson, what a job he's done here at Utah State. They thrashed San Diego State in the Mountain West Championship game. And look, that's probably a little bit of the weaker link of the Oregon State defense is their ability to defend the pass. On the flip side, though, Utah State's defensive line is a little bit undersized. Oregon State usually likes to run the football more than throw it. They've got an absolutely terrific ground game. Chance Nolan, the quarterback, he throws when he has to, but this is an Oregon State offense that really relies on ground and pound, smash mouth football. They've got a terrific running back, BJ Baylor. Watch out for him in this game. And they use that linebacker as well in a Wildcat, and he runs the ball as well for Oregon State. So it's a very, very tricky offense to prepare for. And I think they could probably have their way with their O-line against a little bit of a smaller group from Utah State. So I do think we'll see both offenses move the ball pretty well, have success. You won't have any weather issues. We're indoors here at SoFi Stadium. So I think we'll see points in this game. As far as the side goes, I've seen a pattern, you guys. I don't know if you agree, but I've seen a pattern where a team gets the big season, has the big, great year, like Utah State, comeback year. They win the conference title game, especially decisively. Sometimes they don't have anything left for the bowl game. Sometimes, they just don't have, that another gear again to get ready.
Who was that last year? San Jose State, or who was that? Remember they got blown out by Ball State or whatever?
That's the one, Connor. And they won the Mountain West title game. Same conference, too. They won the Mountain West title game. They didn't show up. They got mauled in the bowl game. Absolutely steamrolled. I'm worried about that here for Utah State today. And I like Oregon State, and I think I think when it's all said and done, I trust their defense maybe to make a stop or two. So I've been dog heavy so far in bowl season. I was on both dogs yesterday. I like a lot of the dogs today. This is one favorite I might consider, though. The Beavers in this one, laying the 7. What do you think here, Big Ragoo?
I like points here, just like you guys like the points, more or less. I might lean on Utah State in the first half too, possibly, but I think the game gets over the number, especially with Oregon State missing Avery Roberts. He was a leading tackler in the Pac-12. He's going to be missing, and we also have a little first half suspension for one of OSU's top wide receivers. I think it's Harrison is out for the first half. So maybe I would lean Utah State in the first half and definitely the full game over. I like that look a lot.
All right, liking the over a lot with a lean in the first half to Utah State. DJ Big Boss, I mean, Utah State, I think I liked them in the Mountain West title game. I think you did as well. Just a terrific season. Can you believe one Anderson to another, the difference? Gary was awful. Blake is the complete opposite.
Yeah, that's crazy. But as a matter of fact, I'm going to be in the house for this game today, the first Jimmy Kimmel Bowl right here at SoFi. I've been itching to go to SoFi, so here's my opportunity. I hope to make this a annual tradition right here. Nice little bowl game in the backyard. I like it. Mountain West versus Pac-12.
Why not?
I was hoping that USC or UCLA fell in that fifth seed spot for Pac-12, but we get Oregon State in this one. But these guys coming out here to LA, man, I don't think they're gonna be focused, man. You got Oregon coming from Oregon State, coming from Utah. I mean, they probably ate the big king steak dinners in Beverly Hills and all that good stuff. They're all riled up. I don't expect no defense in this game. I'm gonna go for points, fill my cup to the rim, and root for both teams, and hope that they score all day. But also, I like taking the points with Utah State, just as a small look in respects to the things that Anderson did over there. I mean, coming from Arkansas State, the players following them over there, like that guy's really in touch with his players. They didn't have an easy way to that championship in the Mountain West. They played games where they were down, had to come back. One game I remember Justin Rice caught the interception in overtime to close off the game. I mean, they just did a phenomenal job. I don't see them letting off the gas at this point. So Oregon State better be ready for another Mountain West team, because the Mountain West, they don't have no problem running up on the Pac-12. We've seen that already. So I'm gonna take the points too, and take the dog with Utah State, but I really like the over as well.
Yeah, if Jimmy Kimmel's got his name on a bowl game, Dan Kelly, maybe there's hope for me. Yes, the Bobano Pub Sports Radio Bowl. Could you imagine that? That's wow. That's we'll see. Never know. Keep on dreaming, but let's see. Maybe we'll get there one day. Thank you very much, Dan. It's very funny. Connor, what do you think here? Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl. Hey, if it's the Bobano Pub Sports Radio Bowl one day in college football, it'll be the better bowl game. Mark my word. All right, Connor, what do you like here?
I think there's points as well, but this total's crept up a lot here to 67.5. It's moved about 4 or 5 points. It could just stay under. I could see it maybe like 34-30. I agree, but in years past, the Mountain West has struggled with the Pac-12. In this Las Vegas Bowl, they've gotten their ass whipped. Utah State can throw it. Oregon State's not that great against the pass. I think they're like 55th, something like that. And they gave up points all year. I think Utah State will score, and I'm scared a little bit to lay the 7. If you like Oregon State, see if you can get a 6.5. I think the game is close, but not one I'm going to bet on. And I like the over, but I don't know if it gets there now, how high that is. I think there's a ton of points, but I don't know. When I start seeing 68, I back off a little bit. So just leans for me.
Yeah, there you go. Very good, Michael Bobano. Very good. Yeah, you guys are bringing your A stuff, A material this morning. Way to go. All right, New Orleans Bowl, Caesar Superdome. We've got Marshall and Louisiana. Louisiana Raging Cajuns, 4-point favorites, 55.5 the total. Just a priori, I would be on Marshall or nothing here. I don't like the situation for Louisiana. Napier's gone. It's a shakeup in the coaching staff. That's especially when they're favored. I don't like that profile team with coaching staff changes, now laying points in a bowl game. Now they are close. Now, obviously, they're in their home state. They've been in this bowl game a lot over the years. New Orleans Bowl, this Raging Cajuns team. And obviously, they're going to have a decent crowd, home fan support, crowd support for this game, no doubt about that. But, with Napier departing for Florida, just how are things going to go here? And look, Louisiana's defense is kind of like BYU. It wasn't their greatest year on the defensive side of the football. And the one thing Marshall can do, they do have an explosive at times passing game. Grant Wells is erratic. He can light it up in the first half against Western Kentucky like he did a few weeks ago and then get shut down in the second half, which is what happened to him in that game. So it's a question mark here for me, but Marshall's usually been a good underdog. Now, all of that was Doc Holliday numbers. Remember Marshall in bowl games, Marshall as an underdog. All of that was Doc Holliday. This is the first time now with Charles Huff as the head coach in a bowl game here for Marshall, but I'd still lean to the points here with the Thundering Herd. Not a situation I'm looking to lay points with the Cajuns here. A big Ragoo, New Orleans Bowl.
This is usually a bet against spot for me with the coaching departures. He stuck around for the big game, before the end of the season, which was a good look for him. going forward. But at the same time, he does have a lot of strong senior leadership on this team, and I think they could probably hold it together for a bowl game. Like you said, Huff in his first bowl game, and Connor and I both, we know how we feel about Marshall, right, Connor? But
Yeah.
I mean, they're catching a few points here. Whether it'd be enough, I'd probably say it would be enough to kind of get involved. But I just normally this is a dead against spot that I would be against a departing coach, and especially in bowl games. Over the years, it's been a pretty profitable angle for me. So, but I got Marshall sitting there staring me right in the effing face. You know what I mean? So that's going to give me a little bit of pause to kind of pull back. But if I would have to lean, I would just for a system play for me would take Marshall plus the points.
Yeah, it's kind of how I feel about this game. Like, I'll have a small bet on Marshall. It's not going to be anything strong. It's not a best bet or anything like that. But I just don't love the situation here for the Cajuns going into it. Yeah, I see everybody in the chat. 147 live viewers. Excellent already. Hit the like button. We appreciate it. Birdie, Nuke Worker, Keith Wicks. There he is. Razor Sharp. I mean, go on down the list. Everybody that's in our chat. We appreciate you guys joining us. DJ Big Boss, New Orleans Bowl.
And give me the Raging Cajuns all day, man. I'm gonna look past the whole coaching thing, and I'm gonna just say they're the better team. Like I see Marshall struggle a lot. They find ways to try to win games. They went back to the tragedy at Marshall like 5 times for the year, trying to motivate players to keep playing and play big in these games. And I think this Louisiana team, they got a lot to say, and I'm gonna just throw a little conspiracy theory in the air and say, hey, Brian Kelly's in town at LSU, so they got to make a statement too. Football state about to come around for New Orleans right here. So I'm gonna say Raging Cajuns pull it off just out of pride, being near the house. Being the better team overall. They beat App State this year. That's everything is wonderful. It's always a sad situation when a coach has to level up and go on, but it's something that they know can come at any time. So I think that the players take the game on their shoulders and get out there and play and win the game convincingly.
All right, I don't argue at that point that they've been better than Marshall this year. There's no denying that. Connor, what do you think here, New Orleans Bowl?
Yeah, I'm not big on Marshall, as everyone knows. They are catching points. I'd want more than a touchdown with them because the bottom line is the coaching, all that's going on with Lafayette. I'm a big backer of them. The 5.5 is a strange number, but I can only lean with them. I think just all around they're the better football team. So if I had to bet this one, give me the Raging Cajuns. I'm not going to back out now.
All right, that's the Saturday games. We'll move to the next game, which is Monday this week, December the 20th. Myrtle Beach Bowl, a little matinee affair. Tulsa and Old Dominion. We've got Tulsa 9-point favorites here, 52 the total in this game. I know throw out, what Old Dominion, who they faced. It was not the most difficult schedule. We know that. But they made the most of it. They had a great season overall to even get to 6-6, to be honest with you. I thought they'd barely win a couple games. Hats off to Ricky Ronnie, the head coach. He did a really good job here. Look, they feasted on a pretty light schedule down the stretch. Charlotte, MTSU, Florida Atlantic, Florida International, Louisiana Tech, but a couple of decent wins at least in that mix. And let's not forget, earlier in the year, they had a 1-point loss to Buffalo. They've hung tough with Marshall, with UTEP in close games. So, this Old Dominion team has definitely improved as the season's gone on. Hayden Wolf was really the quarterback that really got that offense going. The defense improved. I know they're going to be excited because you don't finish the season, guys, winning 5 straight games to get to a bowl game if you don't want to show up and win it. And I know Old Dominion wants to show up and win this bowl game. They've talked about it openly. Tulsa, on the other hand, is the better team. They're the better defense. There's a lot of categories they're better than Old Dominion in. But their offense, guys, is still pedestrian. Davis Brin didn't have a great year at quarterback for Tulsa. They're being asked to lay double digits here in this game. They've been an erratic favorite this year. You look at the last few times they've been favored by more than a field goal. You're looking at a team that is 1-4 ATS, their last 5 tries laying more than a field goal this year. I know I'm going to get enthusiasm from Old Dominion. I know they're going to be fired up to be in a bowl game, maybe even win a bowl game. You look at it for Tulsa. There's the few assistants have left. The defensive coordinator's leaving for TCU. The offensive line coach is going to USC. There's a couple players in the transfer portal, including Sam Crawford, the wide receiver. Crawford, by the way, 114 catches in 27 starts for Tulsa, and he's probably not playing in this game. So the writing's on the wall. Tulsa's got coaching changes with their staff, a couple guys opting out. How fired up are they for the Myrtle Beach Bowl? I'm starting to question that. I don't think I have to question that with Old Dominion. So I'm looking at the dog here, the Monarchs, team that I've actually backed quite a bit down this stretch where they had a really strong finish to the season. What do you think, Big Ragoo here, Myrtle Beach Bowl?
Yeah, definitely momentum-wise, Old D side for sure. It's a little shaky in the first half of the season, but they put together a hell of a second half to close out the season. And, if I was Tulsa, I'd be on upset alert in this particular spot. But I think both teams are going to want to run the ball first. And I think they both can run the ball in this particular spot here. So I look for a possible upset alert for Old D. I'm not going to back it, but I think the stronger look here for me is on the under. I think we see the game well below the 58 that it's sitting at right now. I think we're. I'm sorry. What's the total here? It's 49. Oh, so I think we can still see it possibly. I see maybe like a 24-21 type of game. If it sneaks over, it might sneak over, but I would lean towards Old Dominion, and I would lean towards the under. I changed my mind. I thought I had a little higher number here, but I was off one line on my friggin' spreadsheet. So definitely
52 is the current total.
52. Okay, well,
yeah.
It might get there, but I think it's kind of crept up a little bit if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say contrarian, but I would lean both ways here. I probably won't get to the window with either one.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So, but by the way, someone mentioning I did have a lean to Marshall, Louisiana over, small lean. So if someone was asking about the total in that game, that's my lean with that one. DJ Big Boss, Tulsa Old Dominion.
Yeah, I had to. I initially wanted to fade Old Dominion coming into the season because they was one of the teams that didn't play during the COVID year. But boy, did they shut me up, and they did really well this year. ATS 9-3. They facing a team with the same record as them, both 6-6. Yet Old Dominion's ATS 9-3, and you're gonna give them 8 points. I think that's kind of a no-brainer to take Old Dominion in this one. As far as the total, I would lean towards the under because that's how OD got to where they are by shutting teams down. So I would definitely say they could probably shut Tulsa down for sure. But so they're packing defense on this one to try to win this game. But I wouldn't lean heavily on either one of them, though. It's kind of a stale game. And it's going to be on the Monday versus Monday Night Football. Might not get a lot of viewers. Just give me the points with Old Dominion or nothing.
Well, initially, there was not going to be an NFL game to deal with, but now that rescheduled Raiders-Browns game is going to be 5 p.m. Eastern on Monday. So that will actually be starting when the second half of this game is going on. So I'm sure NCAA and ESPN, for that matter, not thrilled necessarily about that. Conor Mac, what do you think here? Tulsa Old D.
Yeah, but it's the Myrtle Beach Bowl. I mean, come on. You could take that chance, I think.
I think so.
I need more points with Old Dominion. We all here backed them, especially how bad they were early on in the last 6 weeks of the year. I just think there needs to be more points. This Tulsa team's better, I think, than they've gotten credit for. They played a ton of close games. They lost by 20 to Ohio State. They lost by 5 to Oklahoma State. They beat Memphis, all the teams they needed to. They lost by 8 to Cincy, and they won their last 3 games of the year in beating SMU. So, and they have a solid defense. I just don't want to lay 9 with Tulsa. It's just, I need more with Old Dominion, and I'm not doing it. So it's a pass for me as well. I'd lean under. It's crept up. I see 53.5 even. So if you like the under, just wait maybe and take it tomorrow.
All right, we go to the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, Boise's home stadium, the blue turf, Wyoming, Kent State, Wyoming, 3-point favorites, 58.5, 59 the total. Well, if you subscribe to in a near pick'em price range, take the better defense. That is clearly Wyoming going into this game. There's no question about that. Kent's defense not very good, but Kent's offense has the explosiveness and speed that Wyoming rarely sees in the Mountain West. So it is a phenomenal and fascinating game. It's one of the games I don't have a real strong opinion on, other than, I think it's Wyoming. If you like them, it probably stays under. If you like Kent State, it probably is a high-scoring game. I think it's definitely a correlated side and total type of game. It's one of the trickier bowl handicaps for me on the board, so I really have nothing to offer. It's probably going to be a game I pass or bet in game if I get involved with it. Should be interesting. I will say Wyoming's offense got better a little bit down the stretch. They went to Levi Williams at quarterback. He's a little bit more of a running quarterback, mobile, maybe not as good a passer at times as Chambers, but look, Chambers wasn't getting it done early in the year, and Levi Williams gave them a spark. So maybe this game can get over the total. Kent State, this is a low total for Kent, high total for Wyoming, but very low total. We're talking about a total in the 50s for Kent State. That's definitely a low total for them. Big Ragoo, what do you think here? Potato Bowl.
Yeah, this is definitely contrasting styles of football for sure. So you're going to have Wyoming that's going to want to definitely play defense, which they always like to do. I could say it's almost close enough for a home game for them, more or less. Not that Kent State's going to be displaced playing there, but at the same time, they're going to want to run the hurry up. And, I didn't like Wyoming's finish this year going down the stretch. It was kind of ugly for them. So it's, in my book, it's basically a pick 'em game with the number. 4 points in a MAC situation is not a whole lot of points, but they're definitely not playing a MAC team. They're playing a team that's able and defensively ready to play. So I would have to say I would probably lean with the visiting squad in this particular spot. They may find a leaky play here or there to kind of grab the points, and then Wyoming's going to struggle to put points up, I think, but I think they're going to want to run first, and Kent's going to want to hurry up. So I'm not going to mess with a total here. I would just lean towards the dog in this spot. Take the 4 points if it's available. Maybe 4.5 if you get it. But I see it's already ticked down to 3.5 in the spot. So if you want to take Wyoming, you might as well wait. If you want to take Kent, bet it now.
By the way, just announced leading receiver, receptions and yards for the Cajuns, Peter LeBlanc, not going to play in the bowl game tonight against Marshall. So there you go. An injury, not an opt-out, an injury. Going to keep
Always
him
look for that late information.
Always. There you go. So Levi Lewis down as top receiver in this game tonight for the Cajuns. All right, DJ Big Boss. Here you go. Mountain West man. What do you think for Wyoming here?
I only see value in the total. I mean, you're getting a 59 with a team like Wyoming. We don't know what's going to show up on offense, but we do know what's going to show up on defense. And if they happen to shut down Kent State run, which Kent State's probably not used to, and they have to go to passing the ball, they're going to be into something different with Wyoming secondary, who only gives up about 170, 80 yards per game. So they that could deter a lot of things, but still leading under in any fashion right there. And then the games that Wyoming did go over early in the season was when Sean Chambers was quarterback. Now they did do a doozy on Utah State and put some points on the board. Might have been that they were preparing for Sean Chambers and ended up getting Levi Lewis, or I can't really explain what happened right there. Most of the times Wyoming has went over or scored a lot of points in offense. I haven't been really able to explain why or how or anything like that. And this Kent State team had a phenomenal season. I think I expect them to try to play good defense. Not very difficult to play defense against this Wyoming team. They're really playing, they run the ball, 3rd and long, they pass the ball. That's it. But I hope we get to see a good defensive struggle right here, and I like this one under.
Liking the under, Conor Mac?
Yeah, I like it. Run, then just 3rd and long, throw it. Wyoming, I haven't been able to figure them out all year. So, like Boss said, I mean, they had those early games go over. They played a bunch of unders. They couldn't score, all the quarterback problems. The last few games, that crazy, they beat Utah State. And then they get their ass whipped by Hawaii, 38-14. I can't figure them out. There's no way I'd lay 3 points with them here. Kent State laid the biggest egg. They got their ass whipped by Northern Illinois. They were just a no-show, especially on offense in that championship game. I'd lean to Kent State. And I guess you like Kent State, you got to see points. So I'd lean over. But this is one. The bowl games I did not like, the Potato Bowl here.
All right, we go to the Frisco Bowl, San Diego State, and our home base at Pub Sports Radio, UTSA. Meet the Roadrunners. UTSA 2-point favorites, 49 the total. I don't want to say San Diego State got exposed against Utah State, but it kind of did look that way. An offense that's not a big deal, not a big-time offense, shut down by Utah State. And, of course, Utah State's passing game, like every team that's got a decent quarterback and passing game, has done some damage against San Diego State this year. For as good as their defense is up front, and again, their run defense is magnificent, San Diego State, but you can throw on these guys. And I think you're going to see that here with Frank Harris and the UTSA offense. Now, the one concern is the Aztecs do feel like they want to atone for that game. They weren't happy with the way they just got bombed in the Mountain West title game. I'd expect them to show up here, but I don't know if that defense can match up with the UTSA offense, because I know McCormick's great running it. That will be put to the test, but Harris is capable through the air. And we've seen any kind of decent quarterback, mobile quarterback, do damage against San Diego State. Close to home for UTSA, their first bowl, a chance to win a bowl game, put a capper on a phenomenal year. I don't want the Aztecs in this one. I think they're going to show up, but I don't know if the matchup's enough for them to overcome it. So I would only look Roadrunners here. Big Ragoo, Frisco Bowl.
Hey, is McCormick playing for UTSA?
Let me get an update on that with him. Let me just see. I've got the all the information here with that. Hold on one sec. He won't play. He will not be in this.
Yeah, see, that was my concern for them. I mean, I know they're able offensively, but
it's a blow for sure.
Yeah.
He's been a big part of that offense.
We know that the Aztecs defense is monstrous against the run. I would hate to see him not showing up there. My other concern for San Diego would be, the COVID outbreak that they had. So are they going to be 100% and ready to go? I mean, any more with these COVID tests, a lot of it's asymptomatic. So we really don't know in that regard. But I would definitely have to lean with UTSA to kind of figure things out with the pass, especially if McCormick's not going. So that maybe they change their playbook up a little bit. And even with the short turnaround, early bowl game like this, a little momentum for them. They've had a storybook season. So why stop now? Let's roll with the Roadrunners and the UTSA.
All right, DJ Big Boss.
Man, I think Brady Hoke really dropped the ball as a coach and managing the team, even with the COVID outbreak and all that. I mean, he said comes out they didn't even practice, man. Like going into the Mountain West Championship unprepared for a team like that. I mean, the game plan was solid for the first quarter, but once they pressed the punter, which where they were going to get their bread and butter, and first they pressed him, they got a short kick, then they pressed him and they got to it. So that was just poor management by Brady Hoke. I mean, how do you not prepare for that or anything like that? Now you're asking them to pick up this bruised team, and they still don't even know who they like at quarterback. But you ask them to pick up this bruised team and take them to Texas and play some defense to beat this Cinderella team in UTSA, who's just been having the season of their life. I mean, when they should have lost, they ended up winning. And when they when you thought they were you thought they blew their load against Western Kentucky, they came back and showed you different. So here, this is like a home field advantage for them in this Frisco Texas Bowl. So I think they get their crowd there. Everything's going against San Diego. Only thing San Diego can pack is that defense. And like they said, that defense has showed some open spots in the past. So in UTSA, they love to throw the ball around. So I think that some points get on the board and the total goes over. And I like UTSA in this one.
All right, UTSA and the over for DJ in this one. All right, C-Mac.
Yeah, I'm going to wait to make sure everybody's in with this game. I got to think San Diego State comes out better after how horrible. I mean, that was just everything went wrong in that game. All phases, all three phases were horrible. The coaching, like you talked about, I'm not going to take UTSA. No McCormick. I know it's right there in Frisco, Texas. Maybe I'm going to catch a lot of flack. Sorry, Jose and everyone else. But give me San Diego State here. Take the 2.5. Or just take a money line. They win this game.
I don't know what the explanation is for, because it's about to start. App State, Western Kentucky. It's pouring in the money on Western Kentucky. It was +3 Western Kentucky. It's pick 'em now, and they're saying on the broadcast that you're right. They had those brutal, awful. The scenes are devastating. The tornadoes that ripped through Kentucky. Is there a spirit that, hey, the football players want to really go out there, try to uplift the community? I don't know if winning a Boca Raton Bowl is going to, make people forget, hey, my house is destroyed. But, or I've lost a lot because of these tornadoes. But, there's that incentive, I think, from Western Kentucky's perspective that, hey, Bowling Green, Kentucky was one of the communities that got ripped apart by these tornadoes. So maybe it's, hey, let's go out there and try to uplift the people in our area and try to win a football game, for people that are going through tough. I don't know. Maybe that's part of it. I don't think it was anything major injury related, or opt-out related, but definitely a lot. We'll see. The Lates team doesn't always win in these bowl games. Point that out. Coastal Carolina took money yesterday. Toledo took money yesterday. Guess what? Both of those teams failed to cover. So be careful about, don't be a steam chaser at bowl season. That's my advice. It's not always wise to be that way. So we'll see how it goes here with this game, but just an interesting line move there. Missouri and Army now, the Armed Forces Bowl, Fort Worth, where the TCU Horned Frogs play their games. It's Army 4-point favorites, 57.5 the total. Look, I understand that Army played Navy and it cut into their bowl prep. That's definitely a factor that's negative toward Army in this game. And Missouri's going to have more time to prepare. But the thing is, Missouri's had time to prepare a run defense every week, all season long, and the run defense has never gotten any better. So what on earth is going to change here in the Armed Forces Bowl? And I'm hearing people say that, the prep time's cut into, they won't be prepared. Jeff Monken is about as prepared as a head coach as you could ask for Army usually. Army has been good in bowl games. This is not a run defense I trust to shut down the triple option, even with the time to prepare to face them, to be quite honest with you. I mean, to me, it's just been a bad team against the run all year. I don't know what's going to change. I don't know if all of a sudden you have 2 weeks to get ready for the triple option. A team that hasn't stopped a nosebleed against the run all year is suddenly going to stop it. I don't know about that. It looks like Missouri's undecided at quarterback. It's going to be Bazelak, or it could be the backup. They're opening it up to a competition leading up to this bowl game. The bottom line is, we talked about this game on the Monday show a couple weeks ago, Connor and I. It's Army or nothing. I'm not getting involved with this Missouri team, not when I am pretty damn sure they can't stop the run, because it's been that way all year. So if I'm betting this game, I'm looking at the Black Knights. Do I love laying more than a field goal? Maybe not, but I don't want any part of Missouri. I can say that right now. Big Ragoo, what do you think here, Armed Forces Bowl?
Army, the darling team that I love to bet. And sometimes I win and sometimes I lose. And I think today we get a W, not on the side, but on the total. If you look at what Army does, like they got in a slugfest with Wisconsin. They played that level. They're a team that always plays to the other team's level. For some reason, they just do that. And then when they played Wake, they had that 100-plus point game there. And Missouri's not going to be stopping anybody anytime soon on the defensive side. So this game, to me, bodes well for the over. I think even though with the quarterback issues that Missouri's having, I think they'll be able to still put points on the board. And I think we're seeing the short number here with the 57 and a half. I think we get there. I think we get there easily too. I think Army probably puts up 30s, and so doesn't Missouri. So I like it to go way over the total.
All right, liking the over. It's hard to argue with that. Army more of an over team than an under team this year, especially when playing power teams. What do you think here, DJ Big Boss?
Well, off top, Missouri has been more of a fade team for me all year. When I did get involved with them, I usually don't like getting involved with the armed forces, but I would have to back them as well in this spot right here against a team that was on fade. And you find that a lot of times in the bowl games, teams that you don't feel should be there that are there. So, not the biggest game. I'd probably be a pass for me, but if I had to lay something, I'd take Army.
All right, would lean to Army here in this one. Conor Mac, what do you like?
We talked about this one earlier. I just don't like that it's now at 4 with Army. But I do have to mention that Wake Forest game, but before that and then after that, three unders, 4 unders sandwiched in between that big one. And then they had a few overs early on. So I'd be leery if this game gets over that total in this one.
All right, we move to the Thursday, December 23rd, the Gasparilla Bowl. Actually, a very interesting, fascinating game. Central Florida and Florida in Big Ragoo's backyard. 6.5-point favorites, 55.5 the total. Raymond James Stadium in Tampa Bay, Florida. Touchdown Western Kentucky, by the way, just happened. So there's less than 2 minutes there on the board.
Get it? Points.
There you go. Exactly. This is interesting because motivation-wise, it's there for Central Florida. No question. You got a chance to play your big brother, big bad Florida Gators. You're chomping at the bit for an opportunity like this to prove something here in this game. This is where we're going to find out what kind of coaching staff Malzahn and his staff are for UCF. You've got a couple weeks now to work with this kid, and I'm talking about Mikey Keene, the quarterback here for UCF. Could you get him to play at his high? Because he's going to have to play at his one of his best games here if they're going to cover and have a chance to beat Florida, no question. And at times we haven't seen that from Mikey Keene this year. I mean, other than putting up a big number against UConn and a decent game against SMU and a big one against Temple, it's been hit or miss for him at the quarterback spot for UCF. So what are we going to see from him here in this game? His overall numbers since taking over, and Dylan Gabriel, by the way, transferring out, leaving the program. There was some thought that he'd be healthy enough to start this bowl game, but now that he's transferring out, it will be Mikey Keene at quarterback. But 16 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 63.6% completions. I will say this. His numbers got better in the last 5 games. He had 11 touchdowns in the last 5 games and just 1 interception. So he did a very good job taking care of the football. That's what gives me faith and confidence and hope for him here with the extra bowl practices to get ready. And look, Florida's defense, it's not been good this year. We know that. They fired Grantham. Of course, Mullen ends up getting fired as well later on. I mean, it's a Florida team that, when they started their season, they weren't thinking Gasparilla Bowl December 23rd. They were thinking contend for the SEC East, maybe battle Georgia on that side of the conference, and that obviously did not happen. Looks like Emory Jones is going to be a quarterback here. Remember, Richardson, the other quarterback, is gone. So Emory Jones looks like he's going to be the quarterback here, and he's erratic. Now, and UCF's defense, guys, actually I thought played a little bit better down the stretch of the season. Now, Florida offensive line could be, a handful for them, that defensive front of Central Florida. But, I did think that UCF's defense showed you some flashes of improvement down the stretch. I was hoping for at least 7. I'm kind of disappointed. It's been in that 6.5 range, but there's no way I'm laying points with Florida here. There's no way, no how. It would be UCF or pass for me. I haven't made up my mind if I'm taking the Knights, but it's the side I'm taking if I'm betting this game. Big Ragoo, Gasparilla Bowl. What do you like?
Yeah, I'm not getting involved in this, believe it or not. These are 2 teams. Usually I like to back me some UCF, but with Keene, hasn't been Keene all season, more or less. My question marks were early on when they had the junior quarterback transfer from Kentucky, which originally got recruited by Malzahn, didn't play at all this year, but that's besides the point here. So this is like, I wouldn't even call it a tune-up game for the Gators. I would just call it like basically a showcase game, because I know Napier's going to be watching this game early on down in Tampa. But for the most part, too many question marks on both sides here. Even though UCF has some transfers, Dylan, he's not going to be here next year. I think he's going to be out playing in USC land with the new coach out there, so that doesn't even matter in this particular spot. But I think Gators are definitely the more talented team. Whether they translate that to a 7-point number, it remains to be seen. But I would have to probably lean the Gators here, just on a talent level and a step going forward. Now, you saying Jones is the kid transferring out, or Richardson?
Richardson. Jones is going to start here. Yeah.
Jones is going to play. Okay,
Yeah.
so that would make sense there too. So. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I have a small lean on the Gators in this spot. Nothing in particular that I want to get involved with.
No, exactly. And UCF, the run defense is decent, but it's not great. So that's another concern. Florida wants to run it more than throw it. DJ Big Boss.
Hey, I'm just gonna follow what I've been doing all year, and I've been eating off of taking Florida unders. So I'm gonna take under in this one as well.
All right, under for DJ Big Boss. C-Mac.
Yeah, I need more points. This isn't enough, with Central Florida, at least over a touchdown, and they're not getting it here. The problem is Central Florida, if their defense can hang them in, we talked about it, Ian, I think on the Monday show, if they start getting their ass whipped, they just can't come from behind with Keene at quarterback. There's 2 blowouts, Cincinnati and the SMU game, where they just got out in front. They can't throw it, come from behind. So I can't take them here. This game's just kind of a pass for me.
All right, Frisco Football Classic, Thursday, December 23rd, Miami, Ohio, North Texas. We've got Miami 3-point favorites, 54.5 the total. Actually, it's come down. It opened 4.5, Miami I agree with this move. I think North Texas is the side here. They're playing close to home. They'll have a good fan base, Mean Green. And here's a team that won 5 in a row down the stretch, kind of like we talked about with Old Dominion. They had to win out. They were 1-6 at one point. They won out 5 straight games to get to 6-6, to get to a bowl game. And that is definitely the a situation I think is a bet on here for North Texas going into this game. Austin Ani and the offense was terrific down the stretch. It's not like Miami O is anything special. It's a mediocre MAC team, in my opinion, this year. The Gabbert, the quarterback's solid, but they don't have a great defense. I think they're going to be in trouble slowing down this Seth Luttrell up-tempo spread offense. I think it's going to be a handful for them. North Texas, look, you can say what you want about UTSA being disinterested when they beat UTSA, but still, you beat them. They were still trying to stay undefeated. And the fact you beat them pretty handily, that's impressive by the Mean Green down the stretch. I think you take the points here. I think they could win this game outright. I like the over too. I think there's points. I mentioned that on the Monday show, but the more I've looked at it from a side perspective, there's a lot of things I like here with North Texas. They got into a bowl game. I'd expect them to be excited, want to win it, and I think they're probably better than Miami O. So I like the Mean Green here. Big Ragoo, what do you think?
Yeah, Mean Green, baby. Miami, Ohio is the first bowl game since 2010. North Texas has found a nice little defense, coming down the stretch here, and their running game is pretty solid. DeAndre Torrey, I think he has a big game today. I look for them to control the clock, the ground, and the scoreboard. All North Texas for me.
Right, North Texas for Big Ragoo. DJ Big Boss.
I guess I'm gonna be on the other side, and I'm gonna be on Miami, Ohio. I mean, if you look at their losses this year, Kent State lost by 1 point in overtime. You look at against Ohio, 33-35, lost by 2 points. Against EMU, 12-13, lost by 1 point, and lost to Army 10-23. So these guys are gamers. May not have finished like they wanted to, but these bowl games are another chance to put their feet on the ground. North Texas, phenomenal team, turning all their losses into wins later in the season. They could be on the road, but they could be satisfied. I mean, you don't know nothing going on in these young men heads nowadays. So I'm going with the books, and give me the Miami, Ohio side minus the points.
All right, like in Miami O, and this one minus the 3. Conor Mac, what do you think?
It's North Texas for me. Take the points. This game will be close, I think. So if it's tight, I'm definitely not want to be on the team that's laying it here. They ATS 8 out of their last 9. That lone game was Marshall. Remember it? And all the haters out there told me took that game, beat it. North Texas ripped off 5 straight wins, 8 and 9 ATS. So side it.
All right, we got Memphis, Hawaii. This is your Christmas Eve special. Always the Hawaii Bowl. Memphis and Hawaii Christmas Eve night. We've got Memphis 7-point favorites, 55.5 the total in this game. I'm not comfortable laying 7 away on the island with Memphis. Is this a holiday for them? Is this a vacation, or is this a serious business trip looking to win a bowl game? You always question that with a team like Memphis. You got Hawaii, played their best football the last couple games. I mean, destroyed Wyoming and beat Colorado State. The offense with Siobhan Cordero finally found some life. Check the wind. Remember, this game is still a week away, 6 days away, and the wind has been whipping this year for these Hawaii home games or games in Hawaii. That concerns me, but if there's light wind or no wind, I certainly think we'll see a bunch of points in this game. I like Memphis offense with Hennigan at quarterback. Hawaii's defense wasn't great this year, and we saw that Hawaii offense get going with Cordero leading it down the stretch. So I think we'll see points as long as the wind isn't too bad Christmas Eve in Hawaii for this matchup. Big Ragoo, what do you think here, Memphis, Hawaii?
I don't like the locker room stuff that I'm hearing about Hawaii right now. They got a lot of issues with the head coach and Cordero. I don't know if he's playing or not. I haven't heard 100% if he's in or out. But Memphis, they're going to go to Hawaii, have themselves a good time regardless. Like my boy likes to say, they're going to get their little goodie bags and a surfboard and hit the beaches and probably right after the game, that is, not before the game. But I think they're going to handle business. I think they go in there against a locker room that's in disarray in Hawaii. And I'm not one to back teams going in Hawaii on the island to try to lay points here. But I think in this particular spot, even though it's a home game for Hawaii, I'm not getting to the window with it. I have to get some more information on the Hawaii situation.
Yep.
But more or less, I would in this particular spot early on, I would lean on the Memphis side.
Yeah, it's you bang on there, a Big Ragoo about Cordero, because I remember when I last looked at the game, which was the Monday show, it looked like everything was going to be in. They won 2 games in a row, and now you're reading some of the things behind the scenes. Graham has killed our love and passion for football, is what we're seeing from, there's some issues. Players and the
Yeah, they
coach,
don't like him.
no, they don't
They
like
do
him
not.
one bit
No.
right now. We've got some problems here. And Cordero's transferred out. He's left the program. He's not starting in this bowl game. Day Hunter, the running back as well. So it's going to be the backup quarterback for Hawaii, which explains why Memphis has taken the money. This whole combustible situation with Hawaii's players and the coach, and of course as well the quarterback change. Obviously it'll be the backup. So that explains Memphis taking the money, and it explains why the under's been hit, because this total is 61. It's 55 now. So, and people not trusting the backup quarterback. And actually when you see how he played when Cordero wasn't in there, he struggled. So he really had a tough time. So maybe you can see why that might lead this to be a game I stay off, because I don't know if I trust Memphis laying 7, but Hawaii looks like it is a bad situation all around right now, and probably tough to back them even playing close at home there. DJ Big Boss, what do you think?
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and back the wind on this one and take the under. Nobody said it in the press conference best than Brent Brenner did, the San Jose coach, when he said he went out there and the win. He said even what we see from the TV, it doesn't give you a true look at the win right there. He said his quarterback threw a long pass that was about 10, 15 yards, wide right or wide left from where his target was because of the wind. So those winds is kicking, and it's that time of the year where the weather doesn't do nothing but get any worse. And then with the information on Cordero, I guess they'll be trying to run the ball on the Hawaii side, or at least attempt to control the game by running the ball. So I'm gonna lean with the win and take the under.
All right, take the under here in this one. So let me someone's disputing what's going on with Jones in the Florida. Yeah, he will play in the bowl game. He's entering the transfer portal after the bowl game, but he is planning to play. It is Emory Jones. Yeah, just want to make sure we get that 100% right. Joshua was disputing that. No, Jones is going to play in the bowl game. So that's the situation for Florida. All right, Conor Mac, what do you think here? Hawaii Bowl, Christmas Eve, a little degenerate action, I guess, if you're going to watch and bet this, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, this is DJ in action. I'd be with DJ here. I'd look at the under, but all the problems with Hawaii, even this is where you want them. If Cordero was playing and all that, because like I say, that weird shit happens on that island. The rest, there's a couple hundreds put in their pocket. So I just can't take Memphis. So I'm going to stay off the game. I lead under a little bit on that total.
All right, we go to Christmas Day. There's not always Christmas Day bowl game every year, but there is this year. Camellia Bowl, Montgomery, Alabama, Ball State, Georgia State. 5-point favorites here, 50 the total in this one. I'm going to make a case for the over. That's what I liked on the Monday show a couple weeks ago. I'm sticking with it. I know Drew Plitt and the Ball State offense, kind of a weird year for them. I thought they'd be such a better team offensively than they were. They had some good games, but it wasn't always consistent from that group. So I think there's a chance for that offense to show off a little bit. I like the way Georgia State's offense played as well down the stretch. Once they made the quarterback change, they went to the kid Granger down the stretch. Georgia State's offense really started to get going. Darren Granger was pretty solid for this team, throwing the ball, running it, dual threat quarterback as well for them. He ended up having 553 rushing yards, Darren Granger, once he took over at quarterback for Georgia State. So rather than either side, I'm going to look at points, and it's a modest total, only around 50. So I think we could get over that number. Big Ragoo, what do you think here? Ball State, Georgia State.
Yeah, I like this Georgia State look here. I think we find a little value here. I think we get a touchdown or better in this spot. Even though we're talking about a little action here, and you're right about that number being a little bit low here, just in case they get a little leaky on defense here. But I think Georgia State's definitely the better side. I think there's a little bit of value past the number here that's currently on the board. I think we ticked up a little bit from the open. I think we're good to a touchdown here for Georgia State. So I'm going to lean real hard that way, but I like your look on the over also. So a hard lean on Georgia State and an even harder lean to the over.
All right, Georgia State and over for Big Ragoo. All right, DJ Big Boss.
Not a game that I really want to get involved with, but was really impressed by the camaraderie and the togetherness that Georgia State did all year. Nice ATS. This year they were, what is it, 8-4 ATS. But I ate
Yeah.
more off of Georgia State when I was receiving points than laying points, and I don't feel comfortable laying points in this spot right here. This Baltimore State team, quiet as kept. Maction I like to go over, but these guys are 3-9 to the under, so kind of a stay away from me though. But if I had to lay a bet on this one, I'd probably go over too.
All right, Conor Mac.
Man. Yeah, the total is low, but you mentioned it, boss. Ball State went 4 or 5 straight unders the end of the year, and Georgia State was like 6 or 7 or 5 or 6 to the under. It's just a weird number. I lean Georgia State. It's just, right there at 5. And you talked about it, boss. I like catching points with them, or laying a field goal or less. So lean Georgia State in this one, but I don't love it.
All right, we go to Monday, December 27th. It is the Quick Lane Bowl. Ford Field in Detroit, Western Michigan, Nevada. Nevada, once upon a time, was a 6.5-point favorite in this game. Western Michigan is now a 6-point favorite in this game, 56 in total. There's no way to back Nevada. They're unbackable. But if you haven't bet Western Michigan yet, you've missed the boat. Jay Norvell gone to Colorado State. That's a lateral move. I'm shocked that's where he went. That's not an better job, in my opinion. Colorado State, that was a very peculiar decision to go there for Jay Norvell. But his coordinators,
something happened then.
Yeah,
something happened. You just don't up and leave and go to Colorado State.
Like, you think Colorado State's leaps and bounds a better gig than Nevada? I mean, my gosh, I don't know what that's all about. But his coaching staff is gone. They're all gone. The coordinators, both of them are gone. The O-line coach, the receiver coach, the tight end coach, special teams coach, they're all gone. So it's definitely going to be a makeshift coaching staff. Carson Strong isn't playing. He's prepping for the NFL draft. Cole Turner's not going to play. Romeo Doubs, the great receiver, hasn't announced he's opting out, but I'd expect him to follow suit as well. I mean, it feels like a no-show waiting to happen for Nevada for this bowl game. The problem is, you're not getting the best of it anymore with Western Michigan. So there's not much more to say other than pass for me. If you didn't bet Western already, you're probably late to the party. Big Ragoo, what do you think here?
I'm not going to waste a lot of time on this pass.
Yeah, exactly. Boss?
This is an interesting one for me right here. I never liked it, Jay Norvell and that little group all year, even though they were up there to win the Mountain West. They looked the part a little bit at times, but I never really was a Carson Strong fan like that, or Jay Norvell. So they're all gone. That's weird. Western Michigan team though, they did take it to San Jose State, if I believe, on that back-to-back road trips when they went out there. Was that Western Michigan or Central Michigan? I think it was Western Michigan. But I guess you have to lean on Western Michigan with all the drama going on with Nevada. But you know how I am about too much drama, and that's pretty much an overload. So I probably pass or lean Western Michigan.
All right, Conor Mac.
Yeah, I have nothing here. I guess the only thing, if you still like Western Michigan, it is under a touchdown. So the money's already moved. You got it after 3. But nothing for me.
All right. Next up, we've got on Monday, Military Bowl, East Carolina, Boston College. Boston College, 3-point favorites, 51.5 the total in this game. Boston College, I couldn't believe their offense down the stretch, even with Phil Dracovic back. It was just not what I expected it to be. That's for sure. Phil Dracovic will be back for Boston College next year, and he will start in this bowl game. So we'll have to wait and see. Looks like no major opt-outs or absences for Boston College. I think their offense will move the ball here. Remember, they're facing East Carolina now. They're not in the ACC anymore. I think they'll move the ball. I think East Carolina with Holton Ahlers will as well. Boston College's defense kind of struggled down the stretch. They gave up 30 to Georgia Tech, 26 to Florida State, 41 to Wake Forest the last 3 games. I think Ahlers and the East Carolina offense can do some damage. I lean ECU here at +3. I think they're certainly very fired up to play an ACC team. They've been good as an underdog this year. I would lean East Carolina with the Pirates. And again, this is another total I think could be a little bit light, 51.5. I think we could find our way over that number. Big Ragoo, ECU, BC.
Yeah, ECU's been a very live dog all year round, and I think they're live here again, going into this game. With Jacovic, like you said, coming back with the BC's offensive struggles. It seems like a short number on paper if you look at it, but it's the number is what it is for that reason, and I think we see a very live ECU dog here in this particular spot. So I would lean ECU or pass on my book, even though Boston College is very able and can win by a touchdown. I think ECU's live.
Yeah, and ECU apparently very excited to be in a bowl game and win it for a team. They've had their tough times the last few years, so I think motivation and excitement is there for the Pirates. DJ, what do you think?
I think if the motivation and everything for the Pirates is there, then the game goes over because I think Boston College, they have enough to find their way to the end zone a few times, but ECU, they like to throw that ball a little bit out there, and that usually generates points. So hopefully, ECU comes out with the first touchdown, and Boston College plays chase, and we have a low number right there. We should get over that.
All right, Conor Mac.
I mentioned it on the show on Monday. It's Jerkovic. How is he feeling? Because even when he came back, he looked horrible, and they couldn't score any points. So the team went under 7 of the last 8. I think the number's about right. So I'm not on the total, but yeah, give me the 3 with East Carolina. Even take a money line. I think they can win outright.
All right, we go to Tuesday, December 28th, Birmingham Bowl, Houston and Auburn. One of the better pre-New Year's bowl games, actually. Auburn 2.5, 3-point favorites, 51.5 the total. Of course, Bo Nix is gone from Auburn. You will not see him here in this bowl game. It's going to be Finley at quarterback, who's been kind of hit or miss this year. Auburn's got some issues, I think, a little bit going into this bowl game when you look at their situation just a bit. The 6 players in the transfer portal, including Nix. Cornerback Roger McCreary's not going to play. Couple defensive starters, 1 offensive line starter not going to play. A couple starting O linemen actually aren't going to play. New offensive coordinator, they fired Mike Bobo, so there's some shakeup in the Brian Harsin coaching staff as well here for Auburn. And for Houston, I remember taking Houston against your Knowles years ago, Big Ragoo, in the Peach Bowl. They were an underdog. They were excited to play Florida State. Florida State wasn't into the game, and Houston beat them outright. I kind of feel this way about Auburn. I don't know if they're into this. Auburn's thinking grandiose bowls. They're not thinking this bowl game necessarily before the season starts, the Birmingham Bowl, even though it is in their state, Alabama here. And Auburn with so many changes with the coaching staff, with some opt-outs. Bo Nix is gone. Finley's a mediocre quarterback at best. And for Houston, yeah, they got creamed in the AC championship game to Cincinnati, but no shame in that. It's a pretty good team overall. Dana Holgerson's got a solid squad. Clayton Tune on offense. The defense was pretty good. I think they're the more fired up team, and I think if they bring their A game, it's good enough to beat what could be a depleted Auburn team a little bit here. So I'm going to look to the Houston side in this game. Big Ragoo, what do you think here? Birmingham Bowl.
Yeah, I know it's a disappointing end of the season with that Cincinnati loss for Houston, but I mean they're stepping up in class again here. Even though it's going to be a down team for Auburn, maybe not the biggest motivational type game for either side, but I think more motivation on the Houston side definitely. With the changes and the opt outs that's going on at Auburn. And I think this game's going to play a lot closer. I mean, I'm not a lot closer than the line because the line's only 3 points here. So that's indicative of what they think the way the game's going to go. But I would lean towards the under very hard here. I think you're going to see more defensive effort on the Auburn side with the pieces missing up front on offense. And I think Houston's going to try to play a more controlled type game, not a wide open game. So it's going to be a close game either way. And I lean more towards the under, if anything, in this spot.
All right, lean to the under. DJ Big Boss, Houston, Auburn.
I would just kind of I wouldn't call it blindly, but I'll just throw it out there and back Harson's in this one, man. So what? He got rid of Bowo. That shows sign of cleaning house, man. And this guy's been surprising every team that he's faced, win or lose. They played the game on the field, and he's had his advantages. And even back when he was at Boise, they could do the bowl games and all that good stuff. I mean, I don't think we gave Harsin his flowers on his first year right here at Auburn, man. He made Bo Nix look like a superstar for a while. And I think it's been all him. I think it's really him and his coaching is what got them the way. So here in this bowl game, I think he coaches through it again so he can gain some recruits for next year.
Right, Conor Mac.
Agree with Ragoo. Under's the only play here. for me. Nothing on the side. The numbers just too short. I don't want either side, but give me the under.
All right, liking the under. All right, we go to the First Responder Bowl, also Tuesday, December 28th, Louisville Air Force. Louisville, 1.5-point favorites, 55.5 the total in this game. We've got Air Force, of course, a pretty solid year again for Calhoun, 9-3. Zeke Daniels, pretty solid at running that triple option from the quarterback spot. They put up big points down the stretch. Louisville's defense, I don't know what happened to them late, but especially in the Kentucky game, but didn't play as well. You know what's concerning about Louisville? They started out playing good run defense this year, not down the stretch. Last 3 games, they allowed almost 6 yards per carry. Do you think that's trouble against Air Force? I would think so for this Louisville defense. I like the over here. I think Louisville moves the ball. I think Air Force will. Air Force will struggle against, power conference teams on defense a little bit. They will struggle to stop them. So Louisville with Malik Cunningham should move the ball a bit too. I think points both ways over the total for me, Louisville and Air Force. As far as the side goes, tough, but I lean Air Force. I like the total a lot more, though, in this game. Big Ragoo, what do you think here, Louisville, Air Force?
Yeah, I was head scratching on both sides with this one here, but I know that Louisville's having trouble stopping the run, and to go up against a triple option play like Air Force likes to put out there, it might be a tough day. It might be a long and a tough day for Louisville on the defensive side. I think offense they'll get their share, with Cunningham, but just this is going to be one of those games whoever has the ball last might sneak away with the victory, and it's a short number, and I think either way, I think they're going to be points scored. I would lean towards Air Force actually, maybe with a team total in this spot. Over the total.
All right. Lean to the team total here in this spot. Western Kentucky's just scored another touchdown. So there you go. The points are flowing. It's 14-7. We're not even out of the first quarter yet in that Boca Raton Bowl. All right, DJ Big Boss, what do you think here with Louisville Air Force?
Yeah, I was running the numbers a couple weeks back, and I was like, wow, unbelievably, Louisville has been an under team. They're 5-7 to the under. But as soon as I decided I was going to try to back them on the under, they started going over on those last few games. So mobile quarterback is a big deal for the way Air Force run things. And I don't think they've seen a guy like Cunningham out of the whole Mountain West or any of really the teams they played, the guy that could really move around out there. So I think just like Ian said, I think both sides score points. Rule is take the team that has time to prepare for the option, which Louisville does have time to prepare for the option this time. But the way they've been running over there, Air Force has been way too tricky. Has Zeke Daniels been able to actually throw the ball at times, hitting the tight end and a couple other receivers down the field. So I can't see nothing but points bleeding on both sides.
Yeah, it seems to me like unless weather is going to be a big issue there at Gerald Ford Stadium for this game in Dallas, unless there's some major weather issues, I think this total is very light with these two teams. Conor Mac, what do you think here?
I agree. I think the total is light. You mentioned it, DJ. During conference, some of those teams have bad offenses like Wyoming and some of those games, San Diego State. But yeah, their defense, got ripped late in the year. I only lean over. I think this could be last second. This is a toss up, flip a coin on the side.
All right, we go to still on Tuesday, December 28th, Liberty Bowl, Memphis, Texas Tech, Mississippi State. Mississippi State 8.5-point favorites, 59 the total. Mike Leach came out and said, "Hey, damn you for opting out of bowl games, you guys, players that opt out." He's not a fan of that. He reiterated, "Hey, play in your bowl game." He's fired up for the bowl game. The question are his players. I will say this. I definitely think Mississippi State wants to play well in the bowl game. There's a reason they're favorite. I think they're not just better. They are way better than Texas Tech on defense. I know that for a fact. Mississippi State's defense is actually not that bad. And they're certainly better on that side of the ball than Texas Tech. Of course, Texas Tech had a coaching change during the season. Matt Wells was let go. And of course, they've had quarterback injuries galore going into this game. So we'll have to see who's actually on the field. They recently announced, of course, Joey McGuire, the new head coach. Interim head coach Sonny Cumbie, is apparently leading them in the bowl game, but he accepted the job at Louisiana Tech. There's a couple other coaching staff departures as well. Again, with Sonny Cumbie, he's thinking about getting ready for his next job. I don't think he's as focused as let's get Texas Tech ready for the bowl game against Mississippi State. I think there's a reason they're laying more than a touchdown. I also think there's a reason people are betting Mississippi State. This could be This could be a double-digit win, I think, for Mississippi State. I would only look to the Bulldogs here in this one. Big Ragoo, what do you think here with the Liberty Bowl?
I think I think Mississippi State definitely has a better D. I think Texas Tech's a little leaky. Now, the Texas Tech has been inconsistent on the offensive side, and we might see some more offensive side inconsistency here in this spot. It just seems like a decent number for Texas or for Mississippi State to get to. I don't know. I see them easily, not easily, but I see them putting over doubles, and maybe I was going to lean like towards a team total, but it's like 34. But I think they can get doubles here, Mississippi State. So I would lean hard on Mississippi State to get over that the number. Maybe win by 10 or better here in this spot.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I'm usually in the first week or so pre-New Year's Day, I'm on a lot more underdogs than favorites, but this is one favorite that I'd consider.
Yeah,
for sure is Mississippi State. DJ Big Boss, what do you think?
Hey, after Mike Leach gave his Halloween candy breakdown, man, he's been on fire ever since. But I like Mississippi State in this one. SEC versus Big 12. I think it might be outclassed. Mississippi State ain't no chumps over there. They get down and do their thing. Texas Tech. I still think that firing the coach was a missed call too early in the season. But they did rise above that after, so you see a little something. But maybe they shot their load and just enjoy themselves in this bowl game and watch Mississippi State go up and down the field on them.
All right, Conor Mac.
Yeah, that was the lean that I had on Monday. It is over a touchdown. I just don't know what Texas Tech team's going to show up. In this bowl game. This all year long, I couldn't figure them out. Their defense was horrible. Their defense played better at times down the stretch. Can they hear? I lean Mississippi State, but I haven't bet it yet.
All right, we move on. There's a lot of games on this Tuesday, December 28th. Next one is the Holiday Bowl, annual tradition in San Diego, NC State, UCLA. We've got NC State 1-point road favorite, or not road favorites, NC State 1-point favorite, 60 the total in this game. I like there to be points in this game. I know Connor agrees. We talked about this on Monday. I think it goes over. And NC State, I like that side as well because I do think they're the better defense here going into this game. Actually, the coaching staff's one of the few bowl games where it's intact on both sides. Not a lot of coaching changes really for the most part. But NC State does have the better defense. I would trust them to make a few more stops. But I think UCLA will score with DTR a little bit on this NC State team. And the key thing for the total, I like the NC State side, but the key thing for the total, which I like as well, the over, when NC State plays up-tempo offenses, they've pulled them into high-scoring games. They played Miami. They played Wake Forest. Anytime NC State played a up-tempo offense, that team pulled them into an over, pulled them into a high-scoring game. I think maybe UCLA does that here. And you obviously shouldn't have much weather issues here at Petco Park in San Diego. So over the total and NC State for me. Big Ragoo, what do you think here? Holiday Bowl.
Yeah, this is one of the first games that I was able to actually handicap that came out. I said, hey, I'm going to be on that side no matter what happens. I mean, we looked at all the opt-outs. I think this is going to be one of your cleaner games, coaching-wise, talent-wise. Everybody's going to be bought in on this game. So both teams are going to be very interested in getting a W here. And I agree with you, Ian. My first look was definitely on the over here. I think we get a little value here, maybe like 4 or 5 points worth of value on the over. And it's a good look here. Like you said, NC State's going to play up. UCLA is going to play up. And I see points. We'll see points. I see we get to the 60. So definitely on the over in this spot.
All right, DJ Big Boss.
Hey, me and Connor, we already declared that it takes 30 points for UCLA to get a win. So that's halfway there on the total. So I like that. I like the win from UCLA too. I mean, Kelly did a lot to get this team, to try to save his ass and keep his job. Bringing over all those players from different in the transfer portal early, and it worked out for him, but it could have been a little bit better. But at this point right here, if he doesn't come home with this win, that seat gonna be hot next year, flaming hot. Like might get fired in the middle of the season hot. Yes. So I think with all conspiracy theories and everything on his side, he just got to walk down a little bit to San Diego for the game. So he got his alumni and supporters right there with him. So he brings home the bacon and the bread today. I mean, in that game, or he's gone.
Yeah, definitely. Conor Mac, what do you think here? NC State, UCLA.
Yeah, I'm with you guys with with the over. I lean NC State. One thing, these games all would have went over UCLA too. Like the last game against Cal, they just couldn't score. 42-14, like Washington. But any team with a decent offense put 30 on them, and they can score as well. So I agree with the over. I'd lean NC State, but I don't really love the side.
All right, West Virginia, Minnesota here. Next up, the final game on Tuesday, December 28th, Guaranteed Rate Bowl, Chase Field, home of the Diamondbacks in Phoenix. We've got Minnesota 4-point favorites, 44.5 the total. I like the dog here, West Virginia. I mean, Minnesota's not the kind of offense like, yeah, let's lay more than a field goal with them on a neutral field. Not with the offense. The running back position is decimated, of course, all year it's been that way. That's a concern. They fired the offensive coordinator, Mike Sanford, as well. Prior to this bowl game at Minnesota. The one concern is Letty Brown's opted out, and that's a big piece of the West Virginia offense. A couple other players lost in the transfer portal as well. But I'm not laying more than a field goal with the Minnesota offense. It's kind of a disappointing year for Tanner Morgan as well. I kind of expected better from him throwing the football. Just hasn't been the case. Two very good defenses lean under in this game, but at more than a field goal, even with Brown not playing at running back for West Virginia, I could only look to the Mountaineers here. I think it's probably a good chance it's a field goal game, in my opinion, either way. What do you think, Big Ragoo?
Yeah, even though this is a bowl game with a Big 12 and a Big 10 team, it has more of a Big 10 feel to this game with the total set where it is also. And I was a little disappointed Letty Brown not going to be there for West Virginia. I would have loved to back it that way 100%. So, but now it kind of gave me a little pause with the offense issues Minnesota's had of late with the firing of the offense, the OC over there. I think we still lean towards the under in this spot here. So not a big proponent of the under, the 44, but I would lean towards the under, and I would lean with the dog here.
All right, DJ Big Boss.
I'm not quite sure the young fella's name, but the big defensive lineman over there at Minnesota, that guy's a key factor on that defense right there. And if you're talking about a West Virginia offense that struggles are going to be missing additional players, I think the Minnesota defense can take control of the game right there and give Minnesota a good option at winning the game. So I'm gonna back Minnesota in that. I wouldn't. I mean, if this was regular season, I'd be all for the under. But bowl game time, I couldn't really touch that total because you never know what happens in these situations. But definitely leaning with Minnesota. They had a pretty strong season, and this could build on for next year. They could be one of the hottest teams next year after that defense played like it played this year. They just need to tighten up some things on offense, and they'll be competing at a good rate. So I'm taking Minnesota in this one.
All right, like in Minnesota. Yeah, there are concerns about some of the personnel that won't be on the field. You're right, for West Virginia. It's going to be a lot more falling on the shoulders of Seth Dagey here. Jarrett Dagey, I should say. That's his older brother. Jarrett Dagey for West Virginia. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, Dagey scares me too. So I lean. I want to take West Virginia, but I don't know if it's enough points. I don't love laying points like this with Minnesota, but they've done well in this small range this year, as long as they're not laying 15. When they're laying 15 or more, don't take Minnesota and take it when they're getting points. So, yeah, and I lean under in this one. I'm probably not going to bet it, though.
All right, we got Virginia and SMU. Virginia 2-point favorites, 71 the total. I could kind of understand why Virginia's taking money. I know, obviously, Bronco Mendenhall, final game, he's resigning at the end of this season for Virginia. So that's interesting, of course. Tony Elliott, the Clemson offensive coordinator, of course, taking over as the head coach next year. And Brennan Armstrong has announced he's staying at Virginia and probably will play in this bowl game. I would think so anyway, knowing that he's staying at Virginia next year. If he plays, I like Virginia because I don't think SMU is stopping that passing game. The SMU defense against the pass is shaky. But SMU, we know with Tanner Mordecai, they can put up points. They got their own coaching influx too, SMU, of course. Sonny Dykes is out. He's departed. He's taken, his offensive coordinator assistants, so they won't obviously be around to coach the bowl game. Rhett Lashley is going to be the new head coach at SMU after being the OC at Auburn and Miami, but he's not coaching SMU here in this bowl game. So I don't like the coaching instability for SMU. I like the Virginia final game for Bronco, win one for the Gipper maybe. Even if not, Armstrong's going to play. It's good vibes for Virginia. I think they can win the game here at Fenway Bowl. And certainly I don't want any part of an under with these two offenses. Big Ragoo, what do you think? Virginia, SMU.
I want to know what the hell a Wasabi Fenway ball is. What is it? Wasabi's the sponsor of this game,
Yeah.
huh? That's
The only thing I know
interesting.
is it's at Fenway Park because it's called the
Fenway Park
Bowl.
of all
That's
things.
the easy
Now they're
part.
starting to play football and baseball parks. I love it. Pinstripe Bowl also. But yeah, this is a Virginia or pass. It's got to be, with all the departing pieces over at SMU, and the total is still pretty high, which is surprising me. We're so used to that Mendenhall defenses, but we talked about this all year, how Virginia's been able to put points up on the board. And I think it bodes well for them in this spot. The going away present, the goodie bag collection, like my boy likes to say. So I think SMU is in a little bit of a tough spot here, a little bit displaced playing up in Boston versus where they used to playing. So I think Virginia is the look here. Sending off Mendenhall with a W. So it's a Virginia or pass spot for me.
Yeah, I agree. DJ Big Boss.
Oh, I like Virginia with the quarterback over there, definitely putting up points. I don't understand the coaching change. It's kind of like a good thing gone bad. I mean, SMU they stepped up. Sonny Dykes, I wouldn't consider him doing a horrible job. He was in his third or fourth year there, and he was getting the pieces to come together. And now it's I don't know if these colleges understand that every time they fire a coach, it's like starting all over because you got to give him a year or two to get acclimated with the athletes that he have there. So I don't understand that call, which I really, if it wasn't that situation, I would love to take the over in this one. But with all that drama over there and a high number like that, I think the under is the play.
Right, Conor Mac.
Yeah, for Jake, I will have college basketball plays. I'll post them on Twitter. And there was no show yesterday. Yeah, just there was only 7 games. And that was it. Max had to take care of some stuff. So there was no point of going over 7 games. So in this one, I got to lean over in this spot. You talk about this one really I was going back and forth on having like back in SMU all year. I think the total's light. Armstrong's in. Is that Virginia defense? Are they going to step up all of a sudden, for Bronco Mendenhall? I mean, they've got gashed all year. I think the total, it's 71. I think this could be higher. I think this gets over with both these offenses. And if you like Virginia, get it now. It looks like it might move to 3. I mean, I see 2.5 now, 2.5s, a bunch of places. So definitely over here for me.
All right, we got the Maryland-Virginia Tech game, the Pinstripe Bowl, Yankee Stadium, back-to-back bowl games we're talking about in baseball parks here, ballparks. We got Maryland 1-point favorites, 54-55 the total in this game. And I said this on Monday, and I'll say it again. It's Maryland or pass. There's no way I'm taking Virginia Tech in this game. They already got rid of Fuente. J.C. Price is going to be the interim coach, but they've already, they're already going to Brent Pry, the Penn State defensive coordinator, as their head coach moving forward. So coaching instability. 5 starters have opted out for Virginia Tech for this game, including their best receiver by far, Trey Turner. That's writing on the wall. 5 opt-outs, coaching instability for this bowl game. No way do I want Virginia Tech. And I'll say this about Maryland, for as disappointing as they were, they played their guts out to get to this bowl game. They crushed Rutgers in their final game to become bowl eligible, Maryland. And that's a sign that they wanted to get here. And I think that's a sign they maybe want to win this game. And you just got to hope Talia Tagovailoa uses the bowl practices to get the fucking interceptions out of his system.
I was going to say.
Man, he had too many of them all season long. Hopefully that he fixes that. But if he does, I would only back Maryland. I'm not saying I will, but it's the only side I'm interested in here. Virginia Tech looks like that prototypical team where excitement and not showing up for the bowl game is a real possibility here. What do you think, Big Ragoo?
Yeah, a lot of inconsistencies with Maryland being a wild card team getting into the bowl scenario, but definitely can't put my money behind Tech in this particular spot also. So it's got to be a Maryland spot or pass, but I probably won't get to the window on this game either way.
All right, Conor Mac.
Yeah, it's tough for me to back Maryland. I don't know who's going to show up. And he's going to throw in a bunch of interceptions because it seems like when he just can't throw one. Like he's got to throw like 4 or 5, and shit just rolls downhill, and that happens. So, yeah, I'll probably just
maybe
stay
a
away
player
from
prop
this
for Tunglavua throw a couple picks in this spot.
Yeah,
yeah,
he definitely did that a lot this year. That's for sure. All right, we go to the next game here. We'll hopefully get DJ Big Boss back with us. Just dropped out for a sec. The Cheez-It Bowl in Orlando. Iowa State, Clemson. Iowa State 1.5-point favorites, 45.5 the total in this game. Kind of like the last game. It's hard for me to back Clemson. This is not where they envision themselves being before the season, not even in the playoff, not even in a New Year's Day game, pre-New Year's Day bowl game. When's the last time we've seen that for Clemson? And here they are in the Cheez-It Bowl in this one. Brock Purdy's expected to play. There could be a couple receivers out. As of now, Matt Campbell's still the head coach. He's been linked to some other jobs, but nothing has come to fruition yet. Of course, Clemson says goodbye to Brent Venables, who took the head coaching job at Oklahoma. So the defensive coordinator is gone. The OC is gone. Both of his coordinators gone for Dabo going into this bowl game here for Clemson. No opt-out news yet, but look, there's people saying that just hold on, wait a minute. Justin Ross has already announced he won't play in this bowl game for Clemson, the great receiver. I think there's going to be more opt-outs to come. So I'm just waiting to hear some confirmation on some of these opt-outs for Clemson. But, there's no way I'm going to look to Clemson here with everything going on. It would be Iowa State or nothing. Big Ragoo?
Yeah, we don't see too many games where Clemson is a dog, but now we know the reasons why, obviously. Not that they've been inconsistent, but they have made strides down the stretch to kind of, take on that later game in the ACC championship, and now like I say, with the departures of both coordinators, my gut's telling me this is going to be a gut check. My gut's telling me to get involved with Clemson, but my brain's saying no way. So I'm going to probably be off of this game all the way. Maybe lean towards the under possibly, if anything, but other than that, I'm off for this game.
All right, DJ Big Boss, what do you think here, Iowa State, Clemson?
I mean, I like the way that Iowa State defense plays, and the Achilles heel to Clemson has been the offense when they did bad. So I think that in a big game like this, missing some coaches and all that good stuff, it would be a great game for Dabo to make a stand, for his future athletes. That we gonna rise above this bad season and get back to handling business. But with a team as fired up as Iowa State has played during the season, it probably wouldn't happen at all. I think Iowa State runs through them, but who knows exactly what we're going to get out of Iowa State on the offensive side. So kind of a leery. Some of these games coming closer to the New Year's games are really, really trappy. And I think this is another one that's trappy. It'd be Iowa State or nothing for me.
All right, Conor Mac.
Yeah, this one's trappy to me. I don't either side. I like the under, but man, you're not a lot of room here. 45.5, 46. They finally played to some overs, but they played some bad teams towards the end of the year. But Clemson did play well. I think they won their last 5 games. They beat some decent teams. Just tough for me. Yeah, it's a pass. Especially there's no value for me on either side.
All right, we move on now to Oregon, Oklahoma in San Antonio, home base of Pub Sports Radio, Alamo Dome. Oklahoma, 4.5-point favorite, 61 the total. The Alamo Bowl, one of the longest tenured bowl games. It's been around for a long time. This is another one. It's Oklahoma or nothing. Oregon's got, saw Cristobal leave from Miami. Coaching staff totally gone with him. Oregon's got an instability with the coaching staff. Of course, they hire the Georgia defensive coordinator to be the new head coach, Dan Lanning. But, of course, he's not taking over till after the season. Oregon, by the way, plus, did Oregon give you any sense that they give 2 shits down the stretch? I mean, those 2 performances against Utah were brutal. I understand the first game losing to Utah the way they did in Salt Lake. But the rematch in the Pac-12 championship game, they couldn't play any better. They were brutal again for the second straight time against Utah. There's no way I'm on Oregon. No way. I don't like the way they finished the year, the coaching instability, at least with Oklahoma. Williams is coming back. They've made the hire for Brent Venables. And big game Bob steps in. Bob Stoops to be the interim coach here for 1 game in this bowl game. Say what you will. It's peculiar. It's bizarre. This guy comes back to coach 1 bowl game and then he's out again. But it's Bob Stoops. I think there's some excitement there to have him on the sideline if you're some of these Oklahoma players. The guy that's obviously the winningest head coach of all time in Oklahoma football. So I don't know. To me, Oklahoma is the only side I could back here. There's just nothing that would get me to take Oregon here with their situation. Big Ragoo, Alamo Bowl.
Yeah, what a crazy game, huh? All the moving pieces. I mean, it's like playing the arcade game at the damn carnival, try to pick a winner in
Like
this
a jigsaw
game.
puzzle, trying to make the pieces fit.
No shit. But yeah, very interesting. A lot of interesting looks here. For the most part, I hate teams that back their ways into bowls. Especially the way that Oregon finished their season. That was a fucking shit show for them. But and to get beat up by the same team twice like that was ugly. But I think in this spot here, I think it's got to be an Oklahoma or pass. As much as I hate that look too, but I probably won't get involved in this one. This is one probably go up to the buffet line and have a couple chicken wings and whatever else I'm going to eat that day, and a couple cocktails, and watch this game and be done with it.
And keep in mind, we have evidence of Oklahoma showing up for their bowl game. That was a depleted Florida team last year, but still, Oklahoma just destroyed them in the bowl game, and they did show up for it. So
it's got to be a sooner player pass. It's
that's the way I think. DJ Big Boss.
Yeah, I guess I could kind of agree. Oklahoma or pass. I mean, Cristobal just made a mess of Oregon. I don't even see how he got hired over to another job. Like, he didn't do well. Like, getting beat by the same team twice, like they're like in the fashion that he did. Like, who wants that? I don't understand. I don't think that's the player's fault. But I'm not gonna touch the game because I could be scared that the Oregon players may be feeling a sigh of relief without him there and may play up or something. I don't know. They played some good games early in the season. They're not afraid of big competition. So, and then you got Oklahoma without their coach and with Stoops, big game Stoops, but at the same time, you don't know where the athletes are at with that. That's not a solid, carry us forward. But I'm gonna be off on the game though. It's gonna be funny to see who wins this one. I don't know if it's gonna tell the backstory of is Lincoln Riley ready for SC, and should Cristobal have really went over there to Miami? I don't know. That's the only thing we'll learn from this game.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe Cristobal gone. You're right. If you play devil's advocate, maybe the players are a little more at ease now with him gone. Who the hell knows? Conor Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, I think this one's to watch. Who's going to be in and out? I think there'll be some Oregon kids that aren't going to play, and maybe even some for Oklahoma. You guys mentioned it's Oklahoma or pass, and I haven't played Oklahoma all year, so I don't know if I'm going to want to go lay 4.5 here in this bowl game. But we'll see with Big Game Bob. He hasn't always been a big game coach. I don't know how he has that nickname, but you win one national championship, I guess you get that name. But he's lost a lot of big ones. But Oklahoma or pass for me. Yeah.
All right, we go to Thursday, December 30, Mayo Bowl, South versus North, Kakalaki. North Carolina, 9-point favorites, 58.5 the total. The money's poured in on North Carolina because Sam Howell's playing. People weren't sure. He will play at quarterback for North Carolina here. And South Carolina could be down a couple people as well. I know the top running back's going to not play for South Carolina, so there's question marks there. The quarterback stuff with Noland all year, Zeb Noland, he did the best he could, but not exactly a light-em-up offense. They better plan on playing some defense here, South Carolina, because if they get behind, there's no coming through the back door in this one. Don't really have a strong feel either way, side or total on this one. So we'll go right to Big Ragoo, Mayo Bowl.
Yeah. Well, Beamer, kudos for him for snaking away. Well, he didn't have to snake him away because, with the door open policy over there in Oklahoma, he's got Rattler coming on board. So he must be a hell of a recruiter. That's a good pickup for them. And I'm excited for them about that. But that's not going to have any bearing on today's game, obviously. Mac Brown, second stint, he opened up with a win against Carolina, so maybe he exits this season with a win. It's a kind of a refresher game for them. But I think South Carolina might use this game as a springboard game. But with Howell coming back, that line's kind of crept up a little bit. Maybe it's a little bit overvalued there with that 8.5 number there. Maybe anything less than a touchdown is a good look for this. I won't call it interstate rival, but an old rivalry that kind of kicked back, and it happens just to be in a bowl situation. So I would have to lean South Carolina, maybe with a little bit of overlay and the touchdown, and a little better than a touchdown in this spot here. So not a window play, a lean for me, South Carolina.
Lean for South Carolina only for Big Ragoo. All right, DJ Big Boss.
Hey, well, I'm going to have to complete the cycle. And for all those that watch the show all the time, you already know how I feel about Wack Brown and Sam Howell. So here's an opportunity right here to go ahead and go after him. Despite the offensive hiccups on South Carolina been eating off of the defense and not allowing too much room in the air is what Sam Howell likes to do. But that's where their strong point is, not allowing the passing yards. So I'm going to take South Carolina plus the points all day in this one.
All right, Conor Mac.
Yep, that's there's just I talked about it the other day. There's no freaking way you want to lay 10 points with that team's defense. If anybody watched that team, North Carolina, no, no way. You got to take the points with South Carolina here, or don't play it at all.
That's a lot of points to lay, right, with a very, very erratic, schizophrenic North Carolina team. Purdue, Tennessee, Music City Bowl. Tennessee, 4.5-point favorite, 63 the total. The only concern for me here is David Bell not playing at wide receiver for Purdue, but they've missed him at times earlier this year. I think their offense can still move the ball here. I like the way Aiden O'Connell played down the stretch. I would lean as well to Purdue plus the points, but I love this over. I said it on Monday. I am sticking by it. I understand why this total's gone up. Purdue's offense played better down the stretch. Purdue's defense got worse down the stretch as well. And then Tennessee, Hendon Hooker and that offense is pretty good. I think they'll move the ball against this Purdue defense that declined late in the season. But I think the Purdue offense will score a lot as well. And Tennessee's going to play super fast like they always do. I think you see points. I understand completely why we've seen a big move to the over here. Big Ragoo, Music City Bowl.
Yeah, that was one of my two early plays in the bowl season were totals. Was the this game and the other game I told you earlier about. Definitely on the over in this spot. I think we get about 10 points worth of value here on the over. That's how strong I like it. But I stopped looking at everything else when I seen this number. It's a dead over for me also.
DJ Big Boss.
Yeah, this one's going up into the 70s for sure. We got a lot of pass attempts between both teams. Purdue passes well. Tennessee loves to throw the ball as well, and they love to score points, period. So just two big, hungry teams. Don't see no other way but the total going over.
All right, Conor Mac.
Yeah, you talked about Purdue was just bad at the end of the year on defense. They can score. Tennessee, you mentioned Hendon Hooker, great name, only better name, Fair Hooker. Points. We get over here.
Rim shot. All right, Pitt, Michigan State now in the Peach Bowl. We got Michigan State 2.5-point favorites, 55 the total. Kenny Pickett not playing. We weren't sure on Monday. We are sure now. No Kenny Pickett here for the Peach Bowl for Miami. And of course, the offensive coordinator for Pitt, Mark Whipple, is off to Nebraska, where he'll be the offensive coordinator there. Kenneth Walker, though, has opted out for Michigan State, and we kind of thought he might play. That's not the case. So opt-outs on both sides. I still lean to the over here, but I don't know what Patty's going to do. It looks like Nick Patty is going to end up being and he's going to be the future starter for Pitt next year. And he's been in the program for a while now. So we'll see how he fares here in the bowl game. I initially leaned over here, still lean that way. I got to admit, though, I don't like it as much without Kenny Pickett, though, at quarterback. But I still think we might see points. I mean, Michigan State's defense fell apart down the stretch. They do have a good offense still. And Pitt, even with Patty, he's been in the system for a while. Could see them score points. Big Ragoo?
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there. And no Walker either, right? For Michigan State, he's out. Is that correct? Yeah,
yep,
so
that's right.
I mean, all the lackluster players from this one are gone. This would have been still going to be a hell of a football game, but just would have loved to seen those top tier players, battling for both sides for scheduled points. But I think 57 is still a little low here, regardless, even though it's kind of ticked down. You don't want to get caught at the short end of the stick. But I think 57, we can still see points regardless. Like you said, Michigan State's defense hasn't been stellar down the points, and Pittsburgh is one of those teams with Narduzzi. You never know if they're going to give up 1 million or if they give up 10. So I'm going to gamble on the 1 million. And I'm going to lean towards the over in this spot.
All right, liking the over. DJ Big Boss.
Give me Michigan State. I mean, despite they were a pretty good team this year, despite all the ups and downs that they had, a bowl victory right here will keep them sound and heading into the next year on the right note. A loss right here could cause a few players to want to bounce and do all kinds of other stuff. So I like that right here. But I was just sitting right here for a second and I was like really tripping out. I said Ian's inside with a hoodie, Connor's inside with a jacket, and Ragoo's outside with the wind blowing in the t-shirt. Oh my
there we
God!
Go.
He's in Florida though.
He's in Florida, yeah.
He's in Florida,
lucky
though, right?
guy. What a cool.
Shit.
Lucky
never
I was
know
in
where I'm
Florida. Yeah, shit. It's freezing here.
Yeah, poker addicted.
morning.
You're a real funny guy. Ragoo, get inside. It's cold out there. Yeah, try to be in where I am right now. That's cold.
Yeah,
Compared
you're
to
really cool.
Florida, yeah. Jeez, come on now. Conor Mac, what do you think? Pitt, Michigan State.
You mentioned it. No Pickett. I don't want Pittsburgh. You mentioned DJ. They had a good year at Michigan State. I thought that was a good win to end the year against Penn State when everyone seemed all that money had steamed up. Everyone was on Penn State, and Michigan State took care of business. I take them right now. I take them with the 2.5 if you can get it. I think they can win here.
All right, like in Michigan State, Conor Mac. All right, Arizona State, Wisconsin, Las Vegas Bowl. Wisconsin 7-point favorites, 41.5 the total in this one. It's a lukewarm lean to Arizona State. I don't know if I'm going to bet it, but I don't like that their top running backs have declared and are not going to play in the bowl game. That's not good because Wisconsin's already got a good run defense, and who's going to run the football now against them? That ends up being the big question and concern for me. But I don't know if I want to lay 7 with this pedestrian offense at times for Wisconsin. So it's a lean to Arizona State, but I don't love it. It's just, to me, too many points for me to lay with Wisconsin this far away from home, because this game is going to be in Las Vegas here, Las Vegas Bowl in Allegiant Stadium. Lean Arizona State, but I don't love it. Lean under as well. Big Ragoo?
Yeah, I think Arizona State's kind of used to the bright lights and the fast pace of things out there in Vegas and Arizona, West Coast. But Wisconsin, I don't think not so much. Maybe we get these 300-pounders up in the casinos maybe a night or two before the game, and they kind of get their party on and come out a little sluggish. But we know their defense is going to show up. I don't know if they're going to be 7 points better. I'm not thrilled about that. Maybe it was a 3.5, 4-point game. I'd be all over Wisconsin, but it's not that. So I'd have to lean Arizona in this spot.
All right, DJ Big Boss.
Despite how I might feel about the game, I would love to take Wisconsin in this spot right here. But Herm Edwards in the same spot as Chip Kelly, man. They thinking about firing that guy too. So a bowl win right here cools off the seat a little bit over there, and they can move forward. They definitely could do it against a Wisconsin team who they get plain potato salad sometimes. And in this bowl game, I'm not sure if it's a big deal for them to win this game. Definitely coming from Wisconsin and ended up in Vegas, that's just like a plus. I'm not focused at all coming to Vegas from Wisconsin. You know what I'm saying? So I'd say, despite, I don't know if I get to the window with it, but despite how I feel, the best play is probably to take Arizona State plus the points right here.
All right, Conor Mac, Las Vegas Bowl, your backyard. You got to like something here.
No, I don't. I don't trust Wisconsin laying points, and Arizona State's been all right all year, but I don't think they're very good. The total's low. It might be too low, so it's a pass for me.
All right, New Year's Eve now. We've got the Gator Bowl, Texas A&M, Wake Forest. A&M 4 5-point favorites, 58 the total. Man, who's going to get their way? Texas A&M, defensive-minded team, or Wake Forest, this explosive offense with a bit of a leaky defense? I mean, it kind of feels like if you like A&M, bet the under as well. If you like Wake, bet the over as well. It's got that kind of feel to it in this game. Really is tricky to gauge Texas A&M here. I mean, they had big expectations. They've got the much better defense, but they're a terrific lineman. DeMarvin Leal isn't going to play. Leon O'Neal, the safety's not going to play. Isaiah Spiller's not going to play, the running back for A&M for this bowl game. They've got some opt-outs. That concerns me. How's the interest for Jimbo's team? I don't know. Wake kind of was, they just got destroyed in the second half against Pitt in the ACC champ. I didn't like the way they finished the season, Wake, but I'm leery of A&M laying points here simply because of the information I'm getting that, there's guys when they're opting out, like the key guys that have opted out for A&M, it's kind of a telltale sign. They really all in on this bowl game? I'm not so sure. What do you think, Big Ragoo?
Man, did you see the recruiting class National Signing Day that A&M put together? Unfucking-believable, man. They destroyed it.
You got to give
finally
them
they're going to say,
Jimbo.
yeah, I think not this team for sure, but teams going forward, I think you're going to see the Jimbo offense start to come into play finally for A&M. But today is a different story. Now, with all the opt-outs and Mike Elko, who, the defensive coordinator for A&M is going to Duke to become their head coach, this has got Wake written all over it. Team total and side Wake all day long.
There you go. Team total, Wake over the team total, and also plus the points. All right, DJ Big Boss.
Hey, I usually side SEC versus ACC. I usually decided SEC all day, but I don't know. It's gonna be an off game for me. It's just one of those weird college bowl games that I think the players have too much privilege nowadays on whether they want to play or not, and all that kind of stuff. And I wish we could get one good solid game out of them, but we can't. So I don't know where we at in this game. So I pass.
All right, Conor Mac.
This one's tough. You talked about all the people, that might not play for A&M. They're way better. And it just was tough for Wake. It seemed when they stepped up a little bit, whether Clemson, Pitt, they lost. They didn't play down the stretch. So I wanted more than a touchdown to pull the trigger with Wake. So it's a slight lean with them here. Jimbo must be giving out some good stuff there, Texas A&M, for all those kids to go there. Some real cash and some good shit.
Crazy.
Yep, absolutely. All right, the Sun Bowl. It's the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. Hopefully this game is great between Washington State and Miami here. We've got Miami 2.5-point favorites, 59 the total in this one. This is another one where you won't find me laying it with Miami. I mean, Diaz fired. They bring in their new head coach, of course. Miami going into this game. They've got the interim coach is going to be the defensive line coach, Jess Simpson. Cristobal coming in, but he doesn't take over till after the bowl game. Coaching staff shakeup. Washington State, the players lobbied hard. Make Jake Dickert our permanent head coach. And they listen to the players. Players are thrilled. This is kind of like Notre Dame situation with Washington State. Players lobbied for this guy to be the coach. He is the coach now. I expect inspired effort here from Washington State. The quarterback, Jaden DeLora, got better as the season went on. They're gearing the offense more toward his skill set for this game with Dickert at head coach and moving forward. Yeah, Cougars for me. I wouldn't be looking at Miami in this game. I think there's points as well because Tyler Van Dyke certainly showed some potential at quarterback for Miami second half of the year. So I think it's a high-scoring game over the total. And Washington State for me plus the points. I think this is a team that's pretty excited here for their coaching. That they made this guy the permanent coach, Jake Dickert, and I think they give a good performance for him here in the bowl game. And, of course, coaching instability for Miami with Cristobal's staff coming in, Diaz fired, and just the defensive line coach in the interim, and he's looking for his next job. So Washington State for me. What do you think, Big Ragoo, Sun Bowl?
Yeah, I think this is a game where the Miami team's just going to go through the motions more or less. I mean, I don't think there's a ton of excitement on their side, with the new regime coming in. And like you said earlier on, and we talked about this team actually got better, Washington State, when they offed Rolovich, and they really play for this coach here. So I think we'll see that same type of effort going into this bowl game, and it's got to be a Washington State or pass. Little money line action on Washington State for sure. Ian, you're muted.
Sorry, DJ Big Boss. Yeah, Cougars Hurricanes.
Man, this one, I don't want to have nothing to do with this game. I like what they got going with the players making a stand over at Washington. I don't know what Miami is thinking to think Cristobal is going to come in and do anything different. Just I don't know. Some of these matchups are just weird, and this is one right here. I don't even know. I mean, even though the turnaround with Washington State, I don't know if they deserve a bowl game so close to the first. I think they should have been a little further down, but it's a pass for me.
All right, Conor Mac.
Yeah, that might be true, but I got to take Washington State. I think they're the better team too, and you got to lean over. 4 straight overs. They were kind of an under team. The defense was good early on, but I think Miami will score, but Washington State's the better team here. So take a money line.
Yeah. All right, we go to the Arizona Bowl. We've got Boise State and Central Michigan, Tucson, for this game. Boise State, 8-point favorites, 55.5 the total. The money's come in on Central Michigan. I agree. I mean, Boise is just too mediocre all season to be laying this kind of number with them in a mediocre bowl game. It's not the Boise State of their vintage seasons. Not even close. The defense was hit or miss. In fact, more miss than hit. Quarterback play was inconsistent with Bachmeier all season long, and he's banged up as well. A lot of down the stretch. So there's talk Jack Sears might actually be the starting quarterback here for Boise State in this game. Central Michigan, I think that when you look at them, they didn't have a bad finish to the season. In fact, they started to play good. Jim McElwain, of course, veteran head coach for them. going into this bowl game. I just think for Central Michigan, they've got the offense to compete here with Boise. I'm not laying points on a neutral field in a bowl game with a mediocre Boise entry, one of the more mediocre teams in years. So I understand the money move to Central. I would only look to the Chippewas here. Big Ragoo, what do you think here, Arizona Bowl?
I think this is kind of, I wouldn't call it an odd spot for this game, but you figure this game would be like an earlier type bowl game, being the players that are involved here. But I tend to agree with you. I think, the inconsistency of Boise, Central Michigan probably really pumped up about getting an opportunity to play on a New Year's Eve type bowl game here. A little bit of overlay in the number, I would think here, but I would think maybe, if anything, that Boise's probably 3 or 4 points better in this spot. Do they have the capability of covering, the 7.5, 8? Yeah, yes, they do. But I just think it's an overlay in the number, and I think Central Michigan is probably the better team versus the number in this spot here. I don't want to lay, better than a touchdown with Boise in this spot. So Central Michigan or pass for me.
All right, DJ Big Boss.
Well, I know Boise plays good out of conference, man. They come to play bowl games or something like that. That's a good spot for them. Be great for the coach to seal the season with a bowl win, but the number is just too large for me to take Boise. I don't know about giving that much points. And I mean, Brockmeyer or Sears, you kind of get the same thing. I mean, Sears on a bad game is really bad, but a good game out of both are pretty much the same. So I don't know. They could do it with Sears or Brockmeyer. I mean, Boise's an explosive team on offense at time, and then sometimes they kind of hide and they play hide and seek. They don't really come out like that. With all the preparation time, the fact that they didn't get to go to the Mountain West Championship, they made some mistakes. They might try to right their wrongs in this game and really come out and perform well. So I would take Boise minus the points, but I'm not getting to the window with it because it's too many points. But if I'm sitting around watching the game and it dips, I'd take Boise live.
All right, we're at the point in the schedule where the playoff semifinal games are next up, New Year's Eve. We're going to save those till the end, Vanessa Williams style. We're going to save the best for last year. We're going to do the two semifinals at the end. So we'll move ahead to New Year's Day, and we'll start with go next to the Outback Bowl. Arkansas, Penn State. We got Penn State, 2.5 point favorites, 47.5 the total in this game. This is an interesting one. I agree with the money move on Arkansas. Penn State's got a little changes in their coaching staff. Brent Pry's gone, taking a head coaching job elsewhere for Penn State. So there's a little changes there with them. Brent Pry to Virginia Tech. James Franklin hasn't decided who the interim DC is going to be. For some opt-outs potentially as well for Penn State. The one key one is Traylon Burks for Arkansas may not play. But, for Penn State, up and down team, Arkansas, say what you will about Arkansas. They had a great start, didn't kind of, struggled down the stretch a little bit, but man, they were battle tested. You look at the schedule they had to play. They had to play a ton of great teams. I think they can match up in the trenches very well with Penn State going into this game. The money's come in on Arkansas, and I agree with that side. I like the Razorbacks here. Pig Suey in the Outback Bowl. What do you think, Big Ragoo?
I'm going back to the old SEC out of conference matchups here. SEC's usually the better class bowl. I know we give them a lot of props, during the season. This is where they start paying dividends when we get to the bowl season. And Penn State away from Happy Valley, laying points. I'm not a fan of that. We're not talking Joe Paterno time. We're talking Franklin here, right? So, and Arkansas is a scrappy team, getting points. I like the look. I think the numbers are moving in the right direction. Actions coming in on Arkansas. I tend to back that situation right here. So give me the +2 and the money line on Arkansas.
And as
+2.5.
Yeah, and as I said on Monday's show with Connor, KJ Jefferson really improved in the passing game down. So let's not forget they took Alabama right down to the wire down the late in the season as well. This Arkansas team. What do you think here, DJ Big Boss?
I like Arkansas. I like what they did all season. Only part that worries us about Arkansas is they can't really throw the ball well. But when they dominate teams with the running game and their defense, they're really successful. And I think this would get them back on the track, a nice bowl victory, leave them some optimism for next season.
All right, Conor Mac.
Yeah, Arkansas. It could be a close one. So I like it money line, but grab the points, and I think it could stay under this total. Arkansas, that Bama game went over, but they played to some unders. The defense played a lot better. So, yep, Arkansas on the under.
All right, we've got the Fiesta Bowl, Oklahoma State and Notre Dame. Notre Dame 2-point favorites, 45.5 the total. This is like Washington State, part 2 here. Notre Dame lobbied for Marcus Freeman. They got Marcus Freeman. You saw the reaction when they introduced him as the head coach. They wanted Swarbrick to pick him, the AD to pick him as the head coach. They did. I'd expect good performance here from Notre Dame. I think they want to stick it to Brian Kelly. I know they fell short of the playoff, disappointing. They didn't get the help they needed to get into the playoff, but I think they want to collectively say, the old F you to Brian Kelly here.
Yeah.
How do you do that? You put a good game together here in the bowl game against Oklahoma State. And I question Oklahoma State's motivation a little bit. They could have been a playoff team, a crushing loss to Baylor in the Big 12 title game. That was a tough one. They get stopped at the goal line, at the end of that game. And now they got this offense has always been the concern for Oklahoma State. Do they have enough offensively? And Notre Dame's defense, man, did they play well this season, especially in the second half of the year? So I could only back Notre Dame here. I think they are a motivated team. I'm going to start with DJ Big Boss for this one because he's the Notre Dame guy. Am I off the rails here thinking Notre Dame's actually going to bring it here and be excited and want to show something in the Fiesta Bowl?
I don't think it'll be a big excitement thing or whatever. I think they just go out and play some good ball under the new Rams that they have. But nothing's really new. It's kind of the same people right there. Tommy Reeves still going to be doing the offense, and you know what I'm saying. Now you got the defensive coordinator that's also the head coach. So I don't see a big deal in there. I think we play good. I lean towards the over though. I think without Kelly there, maybe Reeves gets a little more passing in than because Kelly is the one who likes to revert back to the run game. So I think with Reeves right there, we throw the ball. That's what I was expecting for the beginning of the season anyhow. And Oklahoma State, on the other hand, they were good gamers this year too. They played some good games in some good spots, but they pride themselves on the defense, and sometimes the offense comes and sometimes it don't. So I think Notre Dame's defense is real sound, so they'll have a rough time on offense, and their defense is stout, but it's Notre Dame. I think we find ways to get points on the board, and the game goes over, and Notre Dame win. Not as a smack in Kelly's face. I'm pretty sure there's some solid parts in there that they still in contact with Kelly, or he still lives in the area and stuff. I don't think they beat him up that bad, but Notre Dame and the over for me.
All right, Notre Dame and over for DJ Big Boss. All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, I think Freeman is going to pick up all the pieces. I'm not going to say autopilot, but pretty much so autopilot. I think all the pieces are still there, like DJ said. And this is a team. I mean, you talk about 2 top 10 defenses here, turnover-wise, scoring defenses. I think we'll see I won't say a low-scoring game, but use DJ's method. When you got 2 defensive-minded teams, usually look to the over. I think we might see that here, and I think Notre Dame will come out on top. Motivation, going forward towards last year, and a nice season for Oak State. I'm not going to totally say they don't have a shot because they wouldn't. They don't deserve to be there. They absolutely do, and they could sneak this one away. But I think Notre Dame has probably got the little more motivation, going forward and looking towards next season.
All right, Conor Mac.
This is one I'm a bit torn on. I get it. Notre Dame wants to shove it to Brian Kelly. They haven't been very good in bowl games over the years. Notre Dame and Oklahoma. Yeah, hey, I know. I grew up watching Notre Dame, loving them, so I know Notre Dame. Oklahoma State, we talk about they're good as a dog. I wanted 3 points. I think the game's good. I just think this is a good game. I really don't have anything in either the side. And that total, I think it could get over. Both teams pretty good defenses. So it's just kind of a pass for me right now.
Although we did see the Oklahoma State defense against Baylor and Oklahoma down the stretch. They gave up some points. They gave up some touchdowns.
They did.
Gave up some yards. So we'll see how they fare against Notre Dame here in this one. Kentucky, Iowa, Citrus Bowl. Kentucky, 2.5-point favorites, 44 the total. I could only back Kentucky. I think the money's going in the right way. I mean, Will Levis isn't a phenomenal quarterback, but he's a solid quarterback, and he's still light years ahead of anybody that Iowa is going to put under center for this game with the quarterback spot. And look, the Kentucky defense, good at times this year, not so good at times in other games. But, man, this Iowa offense is going to look like they're moving in slow motion compared to some of the teams Kentucky's played this year. So I kind of agree with the money move. I mean, Iowa does have a good defense, but that defense was banged up a little bit didn't nearly play as well down the stretch. And look, Michigan just carved them up in the Big Ten championship game. So I think the money move to Kentucky here is correct. That is the side I'd be on. What do you think here, Big Ragoo?
Yeah, I think I don't think Goodson's going to be in for Iowa either. I mean, they're already offensively challenged. You know what I mean? And two defensive-minded squads here. You know, initial look to the under, but I think Kentucky is the better play here. I think they match up well in this particular spot, and I think it's a short number. I think and the money move coming that way, it's all Kentucky or pass for me.
All right, DJ Big Boss. You're muted.
I'm a lean with the over in this one. I think Kentucky defense can shut down the run of Iowa, forcing them to pass a little more, which could lead to more points. And I think Kentucky's got their mind on the money, and they come in to score regardless. I think Kentucky beats them by like 10 or more.
All right, Conor Mac.
Yeah, I like Kentucky. Get a 2.5 if you can. There's 2.5s out there. There are some 3s. But I like Kentucky. I don't even know why I was in this game. Couldn't get it better. They played all right early, but you got to think someone better than them could have been in this game. Ton of guys out. The defense just hasn't been the same, getting turnovers. And you talked about that offense. It's just horrible. I'd rather watch paint dry.
All right, we go to the Rose Bowl, Utah, Ohio State. I'm looking forward to this. We've got Ohio State 6.5-point favorites, 65 the total. Look, Ohio State definitely athletically, recruiting wise, they got superior talent to Utah. But don't underestimate Utah. We've seen Utah on the big stage, the New Year's Bowl games, Sugar Bowl against Alabama many years ago under Kyle Whittingham. We've seen them rise up, and they're going to travel well. I was impressed. The Utes fans, they were littered for the Pac-12 championship game in Las Vegas. They travel well. They're going to travel well here to Pasadena. Everybody to a man is thrilled to be playing in the Rose Bowl. This is breaking new ground for Utah. This is a big opportunity for them, for Cam Rising, for that entire football team, both sides of the ball. I like Utah here, plus the points. Does the matchups concern me? Does Ohio State's speed concern me a little bit, especially on offense with Stroud and that receiving core? Yes, it does. But still, in the trenches, I think Utah, good along the O-line and D-line, can hold their own against Ohio State for as much as they can. Keep an eye, though. I'm hearing whispers. There's no guarantee that Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, the star receivers for Ohio State, will play necessarily. There's still some talk one or both may not, even though you'd think Rose Bowl, why would you sit out? But for Ohio State, they were open to be a playoff team. Not that they're disappointed. Rose Bowl is still a great game, but I think for Utah, this is enormous. For Ohio State, yeah, it's nice, good game, but I think playoff is what they envisioned when it was all said and done this year, and they fell short of that. So I think Utah can compete in this game. I lean to the Utes for sure if I'm betting this game, but it's a good game. I'm looking forward to it. The Rose Bowl here, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to wait till I get to the window with this. Obviously, it's a long way away. But as of right now, all components intact. I would have to lean Ohio State. It is a consolation prize for them, but like I say, they used to. The big day was the Rose Bowl. Every New Year's Day was like the biggest game on the board, regardless of how the national championship panned out, with all the pageantry and whatnot. And this is a spot that Ohio State was used to going to for years and years and years. It's kind of hard to believe this is Ryan Day's only third year. It seems like he's been there forever, but I think we'll see a lot of offense on both sides of the ball, all things intact. And I would lean a slight lean to the over, but I'm going to say Ohio State. Even though they're probably a little undermotivated here, I think they'll show out and play if everybody plays. If not, then I'll make my decision on game day. But as of right now, Ohio State for me.
All right, DJ Big Boss.
I'm looking for the spot with the biggest misconception because even though this is a great matchup, we still don't know what teams are going to show up to the game. So with that being said, I'm going to go with the biggest misconception in the line, which could be going under on the total.
And Conor Mac, what do you think, Rose Bowl?
Yeah, we talked about it on Monday. I mean, this Ohio State, they should be pumped for this. I mean, we just said it. Ragoo said, this is a Rose Bowl. Granddaddy have them all. You hear Keith Jackson saying that, So you got to be hyped for this, even at the consolation prize for them. I've been a Utah backer all year, like you, Ian, especially when they switch to Rising. I think they can keep this game close with their offense. That Ohio State defense is not very good, as we saw. Michigan ran all over them. So give me the 6 points. That total's high. I don't know if it gets there, but yeah, on the side, give me the points here with Utah.
All right, look at and I would lean over as well in this game. I think there could be some points, and Utah's not that same dead nuts under team they've been in past seasons. Baylor and Ole Miss, Sugar Bowl, pick 'em here, 55. I don't have much right now on this game. I think it's a good game. Two teams. I think Baylor's going to bring it. I think they might have Jerry Bohannon back at quarterback. He missed the last couple games, although Blake Shapen played pretty well for them in his absence. But I'm hearing Dave Aranda says they might actually play both quarterbacks if Bohannon's healthy enough to play. Matt Corral has announced he's going to play in this Sugar Bowl, so that's big for Ole Miss. Obviously, that's an indicator that maybe this team's fired up and will play their best here in the Sugar Bowl. It is a New Year's Six bowl game. You should want to show up and play well and win it. I think both teams will be incentivized to win. So, and I like both teams. So, and Ole Miss's defense is better than people think this year, and we know Baylor's got a pretty good defense. So maybe it goes under. But I'm going to pass on this game. This is one of those sit back and watch two good teams. Don't really want to have a interest fading either one for this game as of right now. What do you think, Big Ragoo? Sugar Bowl?
Yeah, great game here, especially when Corral announced he's playing. So, and I think it's basically a pick'em game right where it needs to be. I mean, I'm not going to say it's a coin flip, but basically, if you want to pick a game that's going to be a coin flip, this is probably it for the later bowl games. And I think we'll see fireworks often and early. And I look for this game to kind of fly over the total.
Liking the over here in this one, DJ Big Boss.
I like just watching this game right here. This is a game I really enjoy just watching. On this one, two great teams had great seasons meet up at this point right here. And I don't got a dog in this fight right here. So I could go either or. So I say the best thing to do with this one would be get it on there and bet it live, man. Pick your spot live. I like the way Ole Miss plays ball. But I like the defense of Baylor too. So I'll see which one comes to play, and I'll bet that game live.
All right, Conor Mac.
Yeah, I like Ole Miss a little bit. You talked about the over. We were talking about this on Monday. Ole Miss played a ton of unders, but those totals were in the 60s. This is in 55 range. Baylor was an under team, and their totals were a lot lower. So I think the total's right there. So I think it could go under, or it could get over. I lean under a little bit, and I lean Ole Miss just right now.
All right, we go to this is the final non-playoff bowl game coming up here now. Next up, Texas Bowl, LSU, Kansas State. Kansas State 1.5 2-point favorites, 47 the total. I think there's a damn good reason the Kansas State's getting the money. They won the final game for Coach Ed Orgeron on his way out. Brian Kelly taking over. A lot of interesting shifting going on with the LSU coaching staff going into this game. Brad Davis is going to be the interim head coach for this bowl game, and the transition to Brian Kelly. A few assistants have gone. There's a couple opt-outs. Max Johnson's going to hit the transfer portal. Who's going to be the quarterback here? They could be down to a freshman at quarterback for LSU in this game. And Kansas State might have Skylar Thompson. He missed the final game of the regular season due to injury, but Chris Kleiman's saying he might be healthy and good to go. And obviously, he's a huge upgrade from the other K-State quarterbacks. So it smells like a K-State spot all the way for me in this bowl game. Probably could only look to the Wildcats. A big Ragoo, Texas Bowl.
Yeah, I think LSU had their swan song with Coach O, in that last game of the season, and now it's kind of like I think this game means a little bit more to K-State than it does to LSU. The fact that they're going bowling again with the Kleiman, and talent-wise, I think maybe it sets up better for LSU, but I just think motivation-wise, we're looking at a K-State number here, and I think the line's moving the right way. And I would bet K-State early because I think it might tick up a little bit more before kickoff if you're interested.
All right, good stuff. I'm looking forward after we get off the air this second half of this Boca Raton Bowl because the first half's been nuts, back and forth. Great game to watching the end of it. DJ Big Boss, what do you think here?
Hey, I hear what y'all saying about the LSU situation and K-State, they optimism for them to win and all that good stuff, but I just don't see myself laying money at any number really for K-State to beat LSU. Athlete wise, LSU probably could run it with the second string quarterback and the whole second string offense and the whole second string defense. Not to say K-State's no punk, but just class wise, they don't really match up. Like K-State is a middle Big 12 team, and LSU is a top tier SEC team. So I wouldn't feel comfortable putting my money down on K-State. I feel like it'll be blowing in the wind. So I'm gonna be off of this game, but I hope LSU's the best. I don't know how I'm gonna be next year. Brian Kelly's one of my favorite coaches, man. Just the guy is all about preparation and all that stuff, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna have an impact on this guy next year when he hits the ground. So a bowl game win would be nice for the guys that's hanging around going into next year. They're getting a great coach, and everything could be positive going up the other way. So I'm off this game, but good luck to LSU.
All right, Conor Mac.
Brian Kelly. I think of Benedict Arnold.
Yeah.
He's in the middle of the night. LSU, as the year went on, Bama, they only gave up 20, 16 to the Razorbacks, 14, that was Monroe, but 24 to A&M. I think their defense played a lot better. In a K-State game, they're low scoring. Give me the under here. You get 47, take the under. Backup QB in there, and maybe if Thompson plays, doesn't, I don't give a shit. Take the under.
All right, liking the under. All right, we wrap it up with our 2 college football playoff semifinal matchups. New Year's Eve, the first one taking place at Jerry's Palace in Arlington, Texas, home of the Cowboys, the Cotton Bowl. We've got Cincinnati and Alabama. It is Alabama 13.5-point favorites, 58 the total, the first of the 2 semifinals. I'm telling you what, I'm making a case for Cincy in this game with the points. And I know there's people that aren't going to give Cincy a shot, and Alabama is going to be too much for them in the trenches, that Bryce Young, the Heisman winner, and that offense is going to be too much for them after what they did to Georgia. But you're paying a premium to back Alabama, in my opinion, after that Georgia win. And Georgia's always had trouble defending speed at receiver and defending receivers down the field in one-on-one coverage. That's been their problem, Georgia, for the last couple of years. It's been the one Achilles heel of their defense. Cincinnati's secondary has been one of the top secondaries and pass defenses in college football the last couple of years under Luke Fickell. Believe it or not, I think they got a better chance to cover these Alabama receivers than Georgia did, because that's one of the strengths of that Bearcat defense. What you need from Desmond Ridder is make sure you make plays with your feet, because you're going to have to keep plays alive against that Alabama defensive front. You're going to have to be accurate with the ball, and that's not always the case with Ridder. There's sometimes the throws get away from him. But, boy, I think you're paying a premium with Bama. You know, for Cincinnati, Luke Fickell's going to go to the well with the nobody's given us a shot to win this game speech before the game starts. You just hope they play clean football, don't turn it over. Let's not forget, before that destruction over Georgia, Alabama struggled to beat LSU. They struggled to beat Auburn. They struggled to beat Arkansas. A lot of close calls here. And John Mechie's absence with that injury, don't underestimate that. It takes a big component from that passing game away. It's going to fall more on some of the other receivers, and they've got good ones. They got Slade Bolden. They've got a lot of good receivers there to make up for it. But John Mechie was one of their biggest productive pass catchers this year, and now you're not going to have him in this game. So it's going to fall more on Jamison Williams. It's going to fall more on Slade Bolden, Jaleel Billingsley, guys like that. So Cincinnati could wear down in the second half. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a split, probably. Take Cincy +7 in the first half, and also a little bit +13.5 for the full game. I actually think they can hang at least for a good bit in this game against Alabama. Probably tough to win, but I'm not going to rule out Cincinnati's chances completely. What do you think, Big Ragoo? First semifinal.
Yeah, we seen them wake the sleeping giant up in the last one with Georgia, but that was a different motivational role for Bama in that game, being a dog. Now, they're on to familiar ground, per se, if you want to call it that, to move on to the big stage. And the only concern I have for Cincy, which might be a slight concern, is, like when they kind of, group of 5 stepping up to the Power 5. But they've shown that they belong, and I think they deserve the shot. I hope they don't pull a Notre Dame on us here in this spot, because even though the numbers look good on paper for them, it could go sideways on them pretty quick, with Bama. But you're right about the Mechie situation. That's a big loss for Bama, and the next up guys is step up in this role here. So believe it or not, I'm not going to get involved in this game. I'm probably going to look towards the second half to see how it goes. And if Cincinnati's got it close in the first half, which I hope for your sake they do, I'm probably going to be on Bama playing the second half. Usually we're on Bama first halves, but that hasn't been working out. I'm probably going to look at it. If it's a close game, I'm going to be on Bama in the second half. If it gets out of control early, then I'm just going to probably stay off it totally.
All right, DJ Big Boss, CFP semifinal, number 1.
I'm gonna go under and stay on the under right there. I think Luke Fickle, he knows he's outclassed basically. I mean, he has a great team. They play well. They got a good strategy and all that. But you're stepping into the big leagues right here. Like you said, they could get Notre Dame easily because of the difference in class. And Brian Kelly speaks to this all the time, and that's a big reason why he made the move, because you don't want to keep getting outclassed in the big game like this. And it'll be a proof. So I guess as a Notre Dame fan, I'm praying for Bama to bring it to Cincy to show that, it ain't just us, it's a thing. So and the line setters are even saying that it's a thing, right? But I think the under is the best way to go. Just judging the way that Luke Fickle played Brian Kelly when we played them, just try to control the ball, keep the other team's offense off the field, and also, even though I don't like the Heisman winner, I don't even know how he got it. I don't think he's the best quarterback in NCAA football, so I don't even think that is legit. I mean, he showed that he's been crushed before when his back's up against the wall. So in this one right here, I want to take the points against Bama, but at the same time, they could just be totally outclassed. But I think Luke Fickle plays it smart, takes his time, and we get an under out of this.
All right, Conor Mac.
Yeah, I just don't know if Cincinnati has the ponies here. I hope it's a good game. Other than that Notre Dame game, they don't play anybody. Cincy hasn't played anybody. They played cupcakes all year long. I mean, if you want, Tulsa was a better team, or Navy, East Carolina, and they beat Houston. I just think in the end they don't have it. It's just, do you want to lay these points with Alabama? I don't. It's a game I'm probably just going to watch too. Maybe live bet,
All right, the second semifinal is the Orange Bowl, Miami Gardens, Hard Rock Stadium, Georgia and Michigan. We've got Georgia 8-point favorites, 45 the total. Now for Georgia, this is a better matchup than Alabama. Alabama's speed at receiver killed them, and that's been their problem on defense. It's the one flaw they have. The strength of that team is their run defense, and up front with that defensive front. And guess what? Michigan's modus operandi offensively is running the ball with Haskins and Corum. They're two great running backs. And I worry about the matchup a little for Michigan. Michigan's not like Bama. They run it more than they throw it. And that's the strength of the Georgia defense. Stopping the run could be a little bit of a tricky matchup. At the same time, I don't know if I want to lay 8. I think Georgia does win the game. I'm just not comfortable laying more than a touchdown because they've got their question marks. And at quarterback, Stetson Bennett shit the bed in the big stage against Alabama. There's nothing else to say. He had a bad game there, and he worries me a little bit. He had a good season, but didn't face anyone, in the caliber of Alabama. The one thing Michigan's got is a defense that's getting better every single week. And can Bennett avoid those mistakes if he starts? Will we see a little bit of JT Daniels, which is not out of the question? And if we do see him for Kirby Smart in Georgia, he hasn't played in a while. How sharp is he going to be? So I think Georgia does win the game. It's just where the number is. I'm not overly comfortable or rushing to lay more than a touchdown. So it's a game that I don't really have a strong feel for, but I think Georgia wins. I just don't know if I want to lay more than a touchdown with them. That's where I stand. Probably would lean under with the total. What do you think here, Big Ragoo, second semifinal?
How bruised is Georgia's ego coming out of that Bama game?
Yeah.
And are they starting to question certain things? That
are they doubting themselves, or are they?
Is there a little self-doubt? I mean, there's got to be a little bit of doubt in the back of their mind, because we're talking about a red hot Michigan team coming in that I hate as a favorite, but I love as an underdog. And you give me more than a touchdown in this spot, guess what? The Big Ragoo's money's going on. You better believe it. Give me the Big Blue plus the 8 and a little sprinkle on the money line, because I think they keep it closer than 2 scores here. I think there's got to be a little doubt in Georgia's mind. I mean, they're more than likely, they're the right team to back for the W, but not for the points, as we like to do. I think Michigan, the Big Blue, keeps it close here. A little doubt in Georgia's back of mind, thinking about that ass whooping they took from. They're definitely not looking ahead, but they're worried about it. Trust me.
Yeah, and finally, Jim Harbaugh and Michigan football in general. They've shaken the "we can't win the big game" moniker this year. They finally beat Ohio State, and that was obviously a problem for them. And then they crushed Iowa in the Big Ten championship game. So they kind of feel finally like in a big game, we can compete and we have a chance to win now. So we'll see if they carry that with them here to this game against Georgia. We'll have to wait and see. What do you think, DJ Big Boss?
Hey, since after my season with this Michigan team, all of our people in the chat, they know that Harbaugh listens to this show and he listens to what I tell him. He went out there and did what he did when I
Facts.
told him get out there and get it. He went out there and got it. But at this point, I want to say, Harbaugh, you might have reached your peak. You pushing it to get past this Georgia team. If Georgia shows up to play. Now, if Georgia drops the ball in any way, shape, or form, Harbaugh will be right there to get them. And, I think this Michigan team's a good team, but I think, they might have reached their peak right here. The defense is going to be tremendous over there at Georgia. I don't think they're going to be able to just run the ball. They're going to have to open up the pass and throw the ball at some time. So they got their work cut out for them. But I like what Big Ragoo was saying with the points. Taking the points with, this game could come down to a field goal. And I still think throughout all the season, not enough games came down to a field goal in college sports. So this one could come down to a field goal. But I don't think Harbaugh gets the victory. So I like the other side on the money line, but I like Harbaugh plus the points.
Harbaugh plus the points, but Georgia wins a close one, says DJ Big Boss. All right, Conor Mac.
Yeah, I don't know. Georgia just seems they can't figure out Alabama. I don't know. It seems like they kick everyone else's ass. But this is over a touchdown. I want to take the dog here. I want to take Michigan, but I don't know if they have it. And we talked about on Monday, Ian, they got by the big game that, Harbaugh couldn't beat Ohio State all those years, and he did. And this is a lot easier, Georgia's got the speed, the better athletes. I don't know. If Georgia comes to play, like Boss was saying, I think they win here and cover. Just does that happen? So I want to take Michigan. I just don't know if I can get to the window here. I want to take these 8 points. I just don't know if I can do it.
Nobody does it like us. That's every bowl game, guys. We just got through every single bowl game here on this Saturday college football kickoff show, our season finale. Thanks to everybody a million times over for joining us. Hit the like button. We'll give you one final best bet, any bowl game on the table for you guys for a best bet. Think of one during the break, and we'll see what we can give you. One final best bet to wrap up this season of the Saturday College Football Kickoff Show. We'll be back with all of that right after this.
Welcome to Pub Sports Radio. Catch Betting with the Bag Mondays through Fridays at 10 a.m. with special guest Boshak on Tuesdays. Later on at 3, it's NBA Pup Hub with your hosts Ian Cameron, Dutch Boy Fresh, Trotwam, and more. Coming up after that, see what the latest is in college basketball and NCAA net profit at 4 p.m. Covering UFC fights on live stream, it's the Pup Up crew with the best bets, fight updates, and live reactions.
All right, Southtown 101. When you're in San Antonio, Texas, stop in. Great food, drinks, live music, DJs, karaoke, Manscaped, promo code PubSports, 20% off. Lawnmower 4.0, any Manscaped product, 20% off, promo code PubSports, mybookie.ag. promo code Pub Sports. Again, everything going on, football, basketball, you know it, hockey. Get involved. Sign up for an account, mybookie.ag. Bitcoin accepted currency for your deposit. Mybookie.ag, promo code Pub Sports. And there it is. We played it again for you. The brand new kick-ass, awesome Pub Sports radio ad right there. All the shows, you know them. Every day, betting with the bag, NBA Pub Up, Net Profit, UFC streams, horse racing streams with Razor Sharp. It goes on and on. DFS stuff with Billy and the crew. I mean, on and on. Tons of content every day right here at Pub Sports Radio. All right, guys, let's make it count. This is our grand goodbye for the season. One final best bet before we hit the road here to end the college football season. Any bowl game on the table. Big Ragoo, we'll start with you. Best bet.
I'm going to go to the older guys. I'm going to take the Brigham Young team that travels well, that I think's at least a touchdown better than the other squad. I'm going to put my money on Brigham Young to take down UAB, who we love to back this year. So give me BYU.
All right, BYU minus the 7, best or minus 6.5 actually right now. Best bet for a Big Ragoo. DJ Big Boss, best bet.
I got to give it to the only game that I probably really give a shit about out of all the bowl game, which is going to be my favorite, Notre Dame with the win. Excited to see what happens with the new coach and how we move forward. So I'm gonna give the people my best. That's the best one I'm gonna be right there, hoping, and I'm gonna be just as upset if they lose and all that good stuff. So give me Notre Dame -2.
All right, Notre Dame -2 against Oklahoma State Fiesta Bowl, New Year's Day. Best bet for DJ Big Boss right there. Conor Mac, best bet.
I like both these, but I'll go with I like Washington State, Arkansas. Go with Arkansas. I think they went outright. You could take the 2.5, but and I lean that game under, so Arkansas wins it.
All right, Arkansas +2.5 against Penn State. Best bet for Conor Mac. My best bet is going to be Louisville Air Force over 55.5. That is the First Responder Bowl, Tuesday, December 28th. One of my favorite totals of bowl season. I think Air Force will move the ball. So will Louisville. It's a modest total. I think it gets there. Louisville Air Force over 55.5. First Responder Bowl for my best bet. That's it, guys. The season is over. The Saturday College Football Kickoff Show is finished for another year.
Another year in the books, boys.
DJ Big Boss,
Great
Big
job.
Ragoo, Conor Mac, you've been a joy and a blast to work with. By the way, Conor and I will be here on Monday, January 10th, 1 p.m. Eastern, National Championship Game Preview Show. DJ Big Boss, Big Ragoo, if you're around, join us. The invitation is there.
Yeah, if you're there. I don't know if you guys are open that time of day, but we want you on. So.
I'll call my agent. Call my agent after the show.
There we go. You will see us.
I knew I made him. I knew I should have got a hold of your agent. Shit.
We will have a National Championship College Football Preview Show right here on Pub Sports Radio. The day of the game, Monday, January 10th, 1 p.m. Eastern time. So join us for that. We will be here to get you ready. Guys, it's been a blast. Some final thoughts from all of you. Conor Mac, first from you. It's been a great season doing this show.
Oh, it's been a pleasure doing the show. From the show we do early that we do, Monday just to get going, to take a look at these games because it helps out my handicapping. And then on Saturday doing with you guys. This is the second year doing it, with all you guys. So it's been a blast. I'd rather not do it with anybody but you guys. And I love it. Great right guys, better handicappers, better men than handicappers. But,
Amen,
I love you.
Amen. We love each other. It's a big love fest, and we wouldn't have it any other way. Big Ragoo.
Group hug.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, shout out to Pub Sports Radio for letting us do this, number one. And you guys know the love we have for everybody, you guys, and in the chat, of course, because without the chat, there is no us, right? And then, of course, my big brother DJ and you, Ian, and, of course, Connor, all the love there. And hope you guys do well in the bowl season. And, it's not the last time you're going to see us around, that's for sure. And then looking forward to that meetup in San Antonio. And then, DJ, do me a favor, buddy. Put me a 20 spot in that video poker machine. Will you? Double?
Sure, man. I just want to say, man, it's been a pleasure for me to work with everybody on this panel, man. It's been a pleasure for the people in the chat, man. I really appreciate some of your kind words, some of the stuff you guys, say keeps me motivated. It's a long season every year, man, all the way down to these bowl games. And it's been good 2-hour mornings on Saturday mornings, and I appreciate it. And I'll be happy to come back next year and do the same thing again.
That's the plan. We're all here.
No
We're
doubt.
all still standing. That's the plan. Pub Sports Radio is only getting bigger. You got to think it's going to be here still. That's the plan, to be right back here next September for another college football season. Great stuff, guys. For DJ Big Boss, Conor Mac, Big Ragoo, I'm Ian Cameron. Saturday college football kickoff show on Pub Sports Radio. Over and out.